plot and schemes, unraveling truths and chasing dreams.
Good morning, Rich Rising, HR. Good morning, Rich Rising, Lonnie. Good morning, Rich Rising, Nikki. Thank you for the likes. Good morning, Rich Rising, Deoda. Today's the last day of Black History Month, but we also have Black History 365 because our history doesn't stop. So, the thing for today, yesterday I did Pashu Beverly Randolph, and he was a sailor, a Civil War, I'm gonna say recruiter, like he recruited people for the Union Army. He was an abolitionist, but he was very much into hoodoo, and he was into Schmeck's alchemy. So we talked about him yesterday. My whole theme for the past 2 to 3 weeks have been destroying the narrative of Tetherville because people like Lord Misbehavior and Black American say New York is Tetherville, and I tried to fight it, right? But we really have the most immigrants here, and they're the most embarrassing too, right? Because they have the power of media. I do not call Latinos tethers. To me, they're culture vultures. So let's not forget that word exists. So I've just been going throughout periods of American history, but specifically for New York, just showing that we had, thank you, Deoda. Deoda says facts. We had urban renewal here, and that came with a level of violence. That's when they destroyed the Black towns and settlements, for things like to put highways through them, build bridges, or simply because they didn't like us. I also showed how the ancestors, because they tried to make us look like we just accepted shit, right? Good morning, Candy, Rich Rising. How they resisted using forms of like arson and stuff. Oh, and I always say this, I always tell my Southerners, y'all gotta use the word mesh, because in the North, we really did have a culture of church, family life, and we had a musical genre here. But the thing about New York is that they do hide our history, right? So it took me, I'm going to say, over a year or two to find out what we created here in New York before the South, the Latinos and the Caribbean started migrating here, right, to New York. Even though we know about the kidnapping clubs and people escaped to New York, so that we've always had that dynamic between us. So they had what was called the Harlem Stride. and that's the real syncopated piano. They had Cakewalk, I think it's called, and Ballroom. So we do know that jazz came and blew it all out the water, right? Because you really hear anything with vaudeville. I think that's how you say it. We did have a form of bebop, but I think that's from the South too. And that was here around the time of the Harlem Renaissance. But I'm happy with what I found out. And if a genre wasn't created here, it was popularized here in New York. So my whole thing is, as we fight erasure, we can't erase the ancestors of the North, right? Because there was enslavement here, there was indentured servitude, there was a heavy abolition movement here in New York. There were free people of color here. They rebelled here in New York. And to have the mayor, when he was just mayor-elect, say New York was built by immigrants was horrifying to me. So I started my email campaign, and I'm proud of it. I think I got like almost 300 signatures without promotion. So, I mean, paid promotion at that. So, shout out to everybody. And it's not only New Yorkers signing it. So, I love the family from the South, the Midwest, the West Coast that will step to the forefront when New York FBA needs help. So, I appreciate that. And a lot of people, there's a lady from Philly, and I invited her today. Dred knows her. Her name is Buki. She knows a lot about New York history. People from Philly really love New York and Connecticut. So she told me about the restaurant where there's a Sandy Ground descendant. If you didn't know, Sandy Ground was an all-black settlement based off of Staten Island. They were given the least fertile land, but they made it work for them. And their trade was oyster farming. The thing with Sandy Ground is that Snowden, Maryland, the farmers there, the oyster farmers, were going through a form of persecution. And they came up to New York and, mixed in with the New Yorkers here, the Black Americans here. And they had a thriving town, but it got destroyed because of what? Urban renewal, to build that bridge. Now, I'm not saying that the ferry is like Lake Lanier, but the ferry to get to Staten Island has had some major crashes. That bridge is not too sturdy. It sways. So the fact that I went to Staten Island once, I will not go back because of the bridge, and I don't like the ferry. But my father and my youngest son, and my sons, really, they go to Staten Island. They have friends there or they work out there. Either or. So New York has a very beautiful history, a painful history, and a hidden history, to the point where we find stuff here all the time. Like Sister Keisha of Thorough Black Talk Worldview. You probably seen her at the reparations hearings talking about the kidnapping clubs that was here. So that's a harm that her family was impacted by. So she was saying that there was a time when there was like white teen men working on a building. I guess you call them scaffolders. You know how you work on the crane and go up the building or something. And I think one fell. And he got unalive. But under him was our ancestors. And when she told the story that a man fell off the scaffolding and they found, the ancestors' bodies, I said, was he white teen? She said, yeah. I said, that was their ancestors. They're tired. They wanted to be found. So we really do have a beautiful history here. So that's what I've been concentrating on. New York early history. Oh, and we had and her name is Elizabeth Jennings Graham. She had a landmark case against the 3rd Avenue Railway because she was forcefully removed from the train, right? So they call her the first Rosa Parks. And Frederick Douglass popularized her case. So it was a landmark case. So we have had our civil rights movements, our abolitionist movements, our rebellions here. Of course, we built the infrastructure. Our bodies were the first commodity on Wall Street. And sadly, we had the kidnapping clubs where even free people were at risk to get captured and sent into states that still had slavery going on. We had gradual manumission. So even though I always thought New York was the first state to free the enslaved population, Pennsylvania had free ancestors before New York did. So, but New Jersey, and we'll never know their name. I look for them. There's about 13 to 16 ancestors who weren't emancipated until 1866 after our Juneteenth, right? That's not because I want a holiday. That's because I think all history of our ancestors should be told. I also say the government only allows us to know what they want us to know. That 1619 date, I always say, well, I thought, they came here earlier than 1619. And if you look at like any flag we have, I believe Tyreek's website, he always goes to the date of 1526. So why they went to 1619, a historian would have to tell me why. But I feel that there's a lot of that going on in New York. But they need the narrative. That Good Morning Eagles, that Good Morning Black Love, that New York was built by immigrants as a way not only to diminish us, but a reason to have them dumped into our damn communities, right? So when I hear certain things from certain people, certain things are a hot spot for me, a trigger. Oh, Brooklyn? Okay, yeah, you got to be a Tether, right? And I'm going to always jump to that first if I know they are an immigrant. Because what they don't realize, Good Morning Twizzle, is that they're melanated colonizers. They literally displace us. Are you at work? You listening? Okay. I had not really homework assignment, but I did ask everybody for yesterday's live, in today's live, to get a inventor so we could talk about it. Also, Keita reminded me that it's Women's Month. So next month, we're going to focus on Black American women. But, and she brought this up herself, I'm in agreement with it, we're not leaving out the men. So if you know of Black American couples that made history or that you even want to spotlight, next month, that's what we're working on. And Dread, I did see you enter. You could come up and give your inventor. And I want to hear the story about the 1804 and what happened with the Black American. Oh, Dread's flirting. I got to wait for Dread to finish flirting, y'all. Thank you, Nola. You got a request up, Dread. Nola, are you speaking to Dread today, or I gotta play mediator? Okay. She said hi. Good. Now I can have a great live because they're not gonna be in the comments distracting me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you get your inventor?
I didn't. I got kind of busy yesterday, and then I ended up. Yeah, I ended up going to the museum yesterday. It was a lot of fun. It was like a work event. I got invited to, so it was cool.
What kind of museum?
I think it's like science and history.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. And it's Texas, so was it black science, like scientists, like what?
No, all kinds of science, geology, sports science, anthropology, paleontology, yeah, all of that.
My youngest son wanted to be a paleontologist.
Yeah. I wanted to be an archaeologist, and then when I found out they don't make really that much money, and that a lot of their excavations that they want to get funded, they struggle to get funding and things like that. I
Wow.
was like, dang, I don't think I want to do it anymore.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, maybe next time.
Next lifetime.
So I do have some topics, but I think I want to hear your I want to call it tea. But what did Juju do with the 1804 and what happened with the Black American?
Oh, I need to. Yeah, I forgot to look it up. Let me look it up right now.
What you been doing?
Yeah. I
I'm
got
gonna read about Mary Ellen Pleasant. I do have Pleasant ancestors. I'm not saying I'm related to her, but who knows? One, they might have crossed paths. They do have the same name. They are from the South. I have to read where Mary Ellen is from again. They did mention. They said it's like some kind of. Some are saying she was born in Georgia and another place, but my Pleasants are from Alabama. So who knows? And they were listed as Creole, mulatto, and of course Negro after a while.
Justice.gov. Ohio man sentenced to 20 years in prison for federal H8 crimes against Haitian nationals. A Springfield, Ohio man was sentenced in U.S. District Court. And this is from December 6, 2023. So it's an old story that they're trying to recirculate. And so the guy's name is Isaiah, Izaye Eubanks. And he was 22. He admitted to committing H8 crimes against at least 8 Haitian nationals. I don't think
So
it
was
was.
he Black American?
I
How
don't
do
know.
you know?
His name's Isaiah Izaye Eubanks. Yeah. So he was assaulting and robbing people if he felt like they were possibly Haitian. Apparently, at least that's what he got convicted of. You know,
Maybe he knew they was frauding the government all the time and said, "Well, let me get my piece of the pie."
right?
Thank you for the likes and the gifts.
Yeah. He might have been on some John Wick stuff. You know, they messed with John Wick's cat, and he went after him. So maybe this guy's cat got taken by some Haitian underbelly. They took his cat hostage, and he just
Oh, Lord.
oh.
You have an imagination. You should write children's books, just not so dark.
I'm just well, yeah, I mean that's the storyline of John Wick. You know what I'm saying? You harm that man's cat, and then he's going off.
Pause.
Oh yeah,
I always wanted to
pause.
say that. So I do have some topics before I get into Mary Ellen Pleasant, who was an entrepreneur, a caterer, a real estate magnate, abolitionist, a hoodoo practitioner, and philanthropist, right? With the hoodoo, the catering and hoodoo went hand in hand, from what I ascertained. But what I'm finding out, and what I'm really tired of, is they're trying to give hoodoo to the West Africans. And so I literally had to write in, give me the history of Mary Ellen and hoodoo without mentioning Africa or Africans, because Black Americans were isolated from Africans. They were around indigenous people the most, and it is based off of Christianity too. So we can't forget the indigenous flora. And they was like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. Let me give you that information. You literally have to tell it, stop giving them to Africa. And this is what I don't understand. If it's a closed religion and we're African, then why can't they practice it? Right?
Right.
So it don't make sense to give hoodoo to West Africa when, just like our ethnicity, hoodoo was born here.
It's true.
Right? So, and I don't want too many. Yeah, I said something like kind of indigenous yesterday, acknowledging our indigeneity, right? And they was like, "Oh, BX." It was one lady, she fairly new to me, right, in the room. She's like, "BX, I'm glad you're coming around." And I was like, lady, damn it. But I didn't want to disrupt nothing. So what I did was double down on, I'm a foundational Black American. I'm an amalgamated person, and I honor all parts of me, which would be the indigenous. And you know what I'm saying? so on and so forth. The European, the pesticide. I even said to have some Southeast Asian. But in the same token, we don't say we're European or we got this from Europeans. I think that they should stop tethering on the African stuff too. So I could agree with the indigenous then, but then they go into you're right, so you should call yourself black, and then it's a whole nother thing.
Lord.
So when
Yeah.
she heard me kind of standing on, indigeneity side of us, or she didn't understand that there's two definitions to indigenous, right? And one main one that I focus on is if our ancestors predate the formation of the United States of America and they were intricate in building America, then they are indigenous to America. And she was like, yeah, glad PX, you're coming around.
Lord. Oh my goodness.
Other than that, she seems to be nice, but lady. And sometimes, and you know what I was doing though? I think it was an African, and I was taking up, and they was asking me, what did I feel about those who are identifying as indigenous? Like, I don't find the disrespectful unless they telling me not to call myself black. Then we got a problem. But I ain't do their genealogy. I don't know who they found it in their trees, so I
Right.
have to take them at their word.
All right. You know.
Right?
And
That
that's
makes sense.
yeah.
Good morning, chaos.
Yeah, so let me try to find another inventor now while I'm at it. Let me stop playing.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, since nobody's coming up yet, I'll read about Mary Ellen Pleasant.
Okay.
I went for the hoodoo first because yesterday I did hoodoo with Beverly Paschal Randolph. And so there might be a probable connection with him and former President Jefferson. So, Mary Ellen Pleasant was a master of leveraging the American landscape and Black American spiritual autonomy to fund the liberation of her people. Hoodoo mastery and indigenous alliances, mastery of indigenous flora. Pleasant relied heavily on the medicinal and spiritual properties of North American plants. She integrated knowledge of yellow dock, burdock root, and sassafras. Botanicals she learned to master through deep interaction with indigenous populations. The slippery gumbo strategy. She popularized a high-end oyster gumbo in San Francisco. In the Black American tradition of hoodoo, slippery foods were used as workings to make business deals. Oh, I don't want to give away the secrets now. Salute. Forget I said that, y'all. This might be a back chat. Let me see. And she also has something called sweetening the past. Fermentation as alchemy, so and spiritual root work. So she worked with everything. So when you think root work, think bitters, think sweet, and I like the fact that she implemented gumbo. You know, I never had gumbo. I want to go to New Orleans for it though, not San Francisco. So let's read something safe about her. Philanthropy and the abolitionist structure. The industrial kitchen as a WAR room. Pleasant's catering empire wasn't just a business, it was the financial engine for the Underground Railroad. Her kitchens funded the movement of people from bondage to freedom. Now, she wasn't born in New York, but she did have ties there because, as you see, she worked and funded the Underground Railroad. Strategic property holdings. She used her wealth to buy real estate across San Francisco and New York, building physical structures, boarding houses that served as safe havens and economic hubs for Black Americans. And then it says John Brown's financial backer. Didn't we ask who was helping John Brown or why? John Brown is the white tea man, right? The abolitionist, and some people think he had black in him because the way he would go all out. But the answer, okay. John Brown's financial backer. It is well documented that Pleasant was a primary financial supporter of John Brown. She saw the abolition of slavery as a tactical necessity to be funded by her own independent wealth. civil rights legal pioneer. She used her fortune to fund legal battles, successfully suing to desegregate San Francisco streetcars in the 1860s, establishing a blueprint for Black American legal autonomy. No wonder why I like that word. Good morning, Truth Spit. How are you? Black American autonomy and legacy. The boarding house, safe space. Pleasant created a localized echo chamber. Oh my God, let me find out this is a message from the ancestors. Ready? Where Black Americans could organize and build wealth away from the prying eyes of the state. I'm going to read it again. Look at my prompt. Okay. The boarding house safe space. Pleasant created a localized echo chamber where Black Americans could organize and build wealth away from the prying eyes of the state. Lineage protection. Her work focused on the specific legal and physical safety of the Black American lineage, emphasizing the creation of permanent foundations, wealth, land, and legal rights within the United States. Founder of Modern Catering, she is a foundational figure in American culinary history, proving that a Black American woman could dominate a high-stakes industry while simultaneously dismantling the systems of oppression around her. That is beautiful. I like echo chambers for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Did you find your inventor?
Oh no, I'm looking. I'm trying to find somebody that not everybody knows about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll read off the topics that we have. USA versus Iran, WAR. You can find the videos, and they'll be from a credible news site like ABC and stuff. They were talking about the conflict, and they said WAR. So, midterm predictions, or is the couch an option? I hope not. Then I have Pan-African versus Pan-Americanism. Which one is, well, it's supposed to be which one is the coach? But you know what? I was in the hallway. The hallways are very interesting sometimes. And yeah, it seems the American Indians and the Caribbean ain't getting along too well. And it also seems like there's a Haitian in Florida saying that an American would never do that in their face. And one of those roasters who sound just like Halo, her and the Haitian was going back and forth. And I was just in the hallway like, oh, this is interesting. Maybe we'll have less Haitians coming to bother us.
All right. Okay, I found one. I found one that I like.
Okay, go ahead.
Now a lot of people probably know his name, but I think this is still something that is very important. This is Mark Dean. Mark Dean. He's the co-inventor of LCD monitors. So liquid crystal displays that you see in HD TVs, liquid crystal displays that you see in flat screens, liquid crystal displays that you see in computer monitors. That would be Mark Dean. That's a brother that helped invent those. So he advanced the technology that we use to display images on screens for interacting with computers, and eventually evolved to the technology that we have in our hands every day in our phones. So Mark Dean is the man, but also he sped up processing. He was on the team that invented the gigahertz processor. Computers were a lot slower back in the day as well. So he's one of the people that made computers smarter and allowed them to process information and data much faster. So Mark Dean is the man, and that's my inventor for the day. Shout out to Black History Month. Shout out to the ancestors. February 28th is not the end when you talk about Black history. It's not the end of us being able to honor these people, though. We can still honor them throughout the year. But Black History Month is a special time where we talk about our contributions to America and to the world. So I'll end there.
Zero Chaos says, honestly, we could make it National Black American History Year. We did so much great. And then he comments, greatest. Good morning, Mama Ani. That's why, I do highlight, if you check my page, they're like little, small, they're like the size of a prompt. They're like burgundy and gold. And it'll say National Black History 365. And then I was doing like authors, journalists, and stuff like that. And that's how I found out about the first journalist correspondent. I believe his last name was Chester. So, yeah. Our history doesn't stop, and it doesn't fit in just a month. Hell, it doesn't fit in only a year. Like,
Facts.
honestly. So, did I read my prompts to you? Oh, you're still waking up mentally? I think we all are. Like, the layers are coming off and we are in motion. I think delineation is doing what it needs to be done. And those who have awakened first, thank you for clearing the way and also being there to guide us, newbies, as we join the trailblazing with you. But this is a Black American Renaissance, and I think we're doing well, although I'm frustrated. Really. So, but yeah, I wouldn't be discouraged. Because you know what? We do things naturally from the heart. We have a good moral compass. And every time I look at the Caribbean, the Africans, the Latinos, the white tea people, if they're going white tea people, these people are manipulative. They are. And so it's
Very.
so much longer manipulation is going to win over righteousness. Go ahead, Dred.
Oh no, I was just saying very manipulative, especially with their words. So you got to be on the lookout for manipulation from the degenerate society. I don't call them the dominant society anymore because if you have to oppress people, if you have to bend the rules so that you can stay ahead, I call them the degenerate society. They're not really dominant, but yeah.
Good morning, Rich Rising, Rap DNA. So, do you know about the USA versus Iran, WAR, or you want me to read what?
Oh
What
no, no,
I'm
fill me
using
in.
them.
I saw a couple rooms that were live where people were discussing it, and so but I don't know if we have. I have no idea about any strikes that have taken place or anything like that. I'm a little bit behind on that.
Oh yeah, I think it happened last night. That's why I said we're at WAR with Iran. So,
Um,
Chaos says we do have to get in our hoodoo bag. Our magic is really strong here. Correct. And Rap DNA says good morning, fam. Good morning. So let me tell you what it pulled up. It says the situation between the United States and Iran has escalated into a major military conflict as of late February 2026. What began as high stakes diplomacy and maximum pressure tactics has transitioned into a direct kinetic engagement involving the U.S., the IS people, and Iran. Current status Operation Epic Fury. On February 28th, 2026, the United States and, is those people, launched a massive joint military operation dubbed Operation Epic Fury against targets across Iran. The strikes, U.S. and those people forces targeted Iranian nuclear infrastructure, ballistic missile sites, and military command centers in cities across Tehran, Isfahan, and Natanz. The rationale. President Trump stated the goal is to eliminate imminent threats and prevent Iran from finalized nuclear weaponization following the failure of several rounds of indirect talks in Muscat and Geneva. The retaliation. Iran responded immediately with missile and drone swarms directed at, is people in U.S. military bases in Iraq and Kuwait, Bahrain, and the UAE. Significant disruptions to global oil markets and regional air travel, including the indefinite closure of Dubai International Airport, have already been reported. So that's where we're at with that.
Wow, that's that's wild. But let me tell you something. One thing I know is they can't whoop us, regardless of the fact that we are now in a WAR. Regardless of that fact, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I feel like in this space we don't have anybody report. I'm gonna say war. We might be at war right now. I'm gonna keep it real with you. War has changed in a lot of ways. It's not like we have to have boots on the ground where people are doing hand-to-hand combat or anything like that. It's a possibility our guys will never engage, the enemy face to face. So we're talking about drones. We're talking about fighter jets. We're talking about launches from ships within nearby seas. And they can't whoop us at the at the true root of it all. We're gonna be all right. I hate that it had to happen, but at the same time, our soldiers are gonna come out of this all right. Our foundational Black American infantrymen, soldiers, sailors, airmen, they're gonna get some good pay, some wartime hazard pay. So shout out to them. Stack your money, foundational Black American military members. I salute you, and we're gonna come out of this on the winning side. I just hate that it had to happen because it's gonna be a lot of money dumped into this effort.
Yeah. And Chaos says, because they use Black Americans as spiritual shields, if Black Americans don't fight, they lose.
Yep. Facts.
I'm wondering how big is Iran that two countries had to, and this is not to disparage our country, but why did the is people have to get involved? Some would say there is not people, but okay.
I don't know. I think they just some bullies, honestly. They just some bullies, They like, you gonna get them? Oh, okay, let me get my leg too. Let me get some. Get out of here. I don't rock with them. I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Yeah. So, and then the other topic was midterm predictions, or is the couch an option? For me, the couch is not an option. Hey, Shadow Band. Not for the midterm, because that's where you think state and local, right? I don't think I understand the midterms too well anyway. Would you care to explain it to us, Dredd?
Oh, don't get me the line. I be voting in the national elections. You know what I'm saying? Don't give me the line. But I need to do better. It's just that I live in Dallas. In the suburbs of Dallas, and it's like I don't feel completely committed to to voting in these smaller elections here in these suburbs of Dallas. You know what I'm saying? It's just like I feel like almost like gonna win regardless. You know what I'm saying? Because and I'm not very familiar with some of the politics of some of these people. And so I ain't gonna too much lie to you. I don't be in my local elections. I be in the national.
Well, New York can't afford to sit it out. We got to try to curb some of this stuff that's happening. Hey, Big Stepper. Good morning, Unwritten.
Hi, good morning, beautiful BX. I am so glad that I happened to turn on my app and see you because You've been on my mind ever since I seen what happened with Iran. They got New York on alert. How you feel about that?
This is the first time I'm hearing we're on alert.
What? BX. You better get
Well,
your
I
ass
just
off this goddamn app and go find out what Iran just hit
I
hit
got
one
my
of our
computer
base.
next to me. I got my computer next to me. But here's the thing
Okay,
for
look.
me. I
Go.
saw that
We get we getting ready
I
to
saw
go
that
to.
we're in conflict, but I didn't know New York specifically was a point of Iran's
Yes, they gave
contention.
a red alert and put
Let
New
me.
York on red high alert, and
Uh,
we hit. They hit our base over somewhere over there. I mean, you can see it clearly. Boom! And yeah, I don't know how much Trump says casualties. I'm sure it is the way it looked. It looked like it's nasty. Wait, hold on.
mhm.
It looked like it's nasty, but once I seen that last night, I don't know. You came to my mind, and then I
Thank
happen to get off
you.
of work right now, and I was like, let me get on here and see his BX, and sure enough, here you are. So I
I got
ran
it
up
pulled
here
up.
to check up on you. If you didn't know, please
Thank you.
check it out and stay safe, man. We man, it's getting ready to go down. But I mean, we all need to stay safe. But since they got New York on red alert, I want to make
Mhm.
sure y'all stay safe.
Yeah, definitely.
All
So,
right, y'all. I'm gonna get down.
thank you.
You're
Yeah, I
welcome.
No
know.
problem. I'm going to go ahead and read about New York being on alert, but Chaos says, if it gets real, avoid major cities, be vigilant of sleepers in America. And you know New York got to be full of them. Let me turn down some of this music.
Yeah. Oh yeah. America has, willingly admitted the sleeper cells into our country with open arms. Crazy.
Right, and I think Dearborn, Michigan, I remember seeing the white team men talking about God first, America first, that thing near to a town hall court. But let me read about New York right here. I'm going to read it out loud for us all.
All right.
I said, is New York City on alert due to Iran conflict? They said, yes, New York City is currently on high alert following the launch of Operation Epic Fury on February 28, 2026. And this music just seems like it keeps getting louder, even though I said turn it down. Hold on. I'm probably just distracted. Okay. All right. Whew. It just seems to get louder. Wow. So, yes, we are on alert. While there are no reports of a specific credible threat to the city at this hour, local authorities have moved into a heightened security posture as a standard precaution during major international escalations involving Iran. Security measures in New York City. The NYPD and city officials have implemented several immediate changes to ensure public safety. Enhanced patrol, so we'll see an increased police presence at sensitive locations. This includes houses of worship, religious schools, and diplomatic sites such as the Iranian mission to the UN and the Israeli consulate. Infrastructure protection. Security has been tightened at major transit hubs, Penn Station, Grand Central, and the Port Authority, and at iconic New York City landmarks that could be targets for retaliatory actions. Counterterrorism measure monitoring. Counterterrorism monitoring. The NYPD Intelligence and Counterterrorism Bureaus are working shoulder to shoulder with federal partners, FBI and DHS, to monitor for any signs of domestic radicalization or proxy-led threats. Cybersecurity. State and city agencies are on alert for potential Iranian state-sponsored cyber attacks targeting New York City electrical grid, water systems, or financial sector. With the bottom part here. Official guidance for residents. Mayor, don't want to say his name, and the NYPD commissioner have urged New Yorkers to remain calm but vigilant. If you see something, say something. Officials are asking the public to report any suspicious packages or behavior to 1-888 New York City, meaning NYC SAFE, SAFE, or 911. Unrelated disruptions. Note that your commute or daily routine might also be affected by non-security factors today. The weather, which is a strong Arctic cold front, is moving in and some snow is affecting city services. Sanitation. Alternate side parking is currently suspended due to the weather and trash collection is experiencing delays. Woo! Good morning, Leo. Did you hear we are at WAR with Iran? And New York City is on alert because we've been listed as a target. Yeah, but damn, we the only one in the nation? We ain't got no little sisters that's gonna fight it out with us, be on alert with us. What's going on? I'm joking. I think, isn't this New York like the money capital, or is that Cali? I know we got Wall Street here. Big Steph is laughing. Good morning, Phenom. We do have Wall Street here. We have people be surprised when I tell them we have a big tourism culture here. Then we have all the icons coming here for like Fashion Week and stuff. So yeah, the UN is here.
Yeah,
Hopefully they won't let Ghana come. The
I
money in
wonder
New
if they're
York for
talking.
sure. Well, I need to tap into the money, but I gotta be careful what I say because they monitoring shit now. I need to tap into
Yeah,
the money.
facts.
Go ahead, Drake.
But what I was thinking is that are they talking about potential domestic terrorism because of the WAR, or are they talking about a direct strike somehow from the Iranians?
Okay, let me see. Let me see. Let me see how to word it. Should will New York?
Big Stepper said both.
I was gonna say that too, but I want to be sure. We'll face domestic. Because you gotta know the Muslims are praying in the street. Good morning, Smiles.
Why be?
Good morning,
Let me up
everyone.
again, BX. While BX is looking for that, let me give you my input on what I was reading up on and shit. People, they're saying that we're surrounded, meaning that because Biden let all these people in this country, they already thought, got wind of supposedly two Taliban high rankings coming in, besides others coming in. So what they're saying is we surrounded, and they don't really know where the tax is going to come from. I think they put New York on there. Because they were talking about the money. That's where the money was siphoned from. And I don't know. I don't know if that means throughout the world, throughout the United States, over there, supplying these people or whatever. Um, and they also said when I hear surrounded, um, and then they were saying what they let in, and we know it was 99% men coming in. Hell yeah, they're in here with us next door, and no telling where else. So I don't know why they're telling New York just to be on alert. They should be telling us all to be on alert. But if you're smart, and if they're, in my opinion, I know when I heard New York, hell, I'm calling all the Californians and telling you motherfuckers be on alert too, because we got these people on our soil 10 toes down, and we don't know which way they coming. Right now, I'm in a gas station parking lot. This motherfucker got watch over me can blow any minute. That's what I'm talking about. You got them in our gas stations. You got them all in these homes. You got them every goddamn where. So what they gonna do? So it's gonna be in and out. I feel all they got. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. And that's what they. That's what I was reading up on as far as that surrounded shit.
Well, that makes sense because everybody was saying before, why is everybody who's coming into sanctuary cities military age and they're not really family? Like, so in New York, you would see a lot of that because we do have like one of the most expansive shelter systems, and they have single men shelters, single woman shelters, they have the family shelters. But a lot of these illegals that were coming in were like military age men.
They absolutely was, and nobody. Uh, um, Republicans, I think I heard some of them pointing it out, and the American people was pointing out, but uh, um, Democrats sound they got darn put a muzzle on their mouth when it came to that. Like I said, once I seen Trump say that whoever's for the American people stand up, and none of them stood up, and I looked across there and all them damn immigrants, I wouldn't doubt that some of them know what the hell is going on as well, and they didn't put their people, because the truth of the matter is, America has went over to some of these countries, and they have invaded some of these places. They have utilized some of their own people against them to get to their target, and then they turn around and bring them back up over here, give them the best homes, all the money, the best cars and everything else, as if these people would never turn on them as well. You know what I'm saying? So, and then once again, we all seen, if you was watching, you literally with your naked eye seen nothing literally but men coming in. And when you seen a man carrying a little boy, a little girl, you question it, because it'd be a 50 men, a baby or two, and no women. 50 men, a baby, two. So after the first three batches, no fucking females, and maybe a few kids. The fourth batch might have one or two females and a lot more kids, but way more, with the males. But hell yeah, and you're absolutely right. They were all pretty much military age that was coming up in here. And my thing is, if they knew that these Taliban people got through there, why ain't they swooped them up? That's what I don't like about America. They be having intel on shit, and they watch the people, and then they allow them to do shit and then do something about it. That's just the bottom line of it. But here's the thing. I heard somebody, America, they got some shit that go shake a motherfucker up, though. They got some shit fuck your eyes and your ears up. So, I don't know. It's getting ready to be real interesting to see what the hell's getting ready to happen. And we know we got a lot of these people here on this soil, so it's going to be real interesting to see what is going on.
Yeah, this is wild, right? So they
Oh,
say
yeah.
Obama is coming, huh?
I said,
Yeah,
hell yeah, to wake up to this? And when
yeah.
I don't know if you seen the explosion, but when I seen it, I said, ain't no way nobody survived, as far as America survived that. Now they say that America and British share that base, and they had American and British casualties. And they said British already got on the thing and said they didn't want no problems, even though they got casualties. America want all the smoke. It's wild in the motherfucker, but hey, them people that
Yeah,
Trump got
Trump is
around him, I'm not gonna
crazy.
use
And
Trump.
he
I'm gonna use
from
the
New
people
York.
around him. Because if anybody understand the people around him, Trump got some super racist to the 50th power around here. These people that he's given the position to are super R. And I believe that for some reason, I think they think, I don't know if he's spewing rhetoric or whatever, but just the pieces that he got around him, it can get real goddamn nasty. Because these people been wanting to do this shit. They been wanting to knock a lot of ethnicity groups out, and even on this soil. And so, being domestic or even outside or inside, I feel like this is something they've been wanting to do any goddamn way. And so they go give them a reason. So just everybody be on alert. I'm gonna get down. I thank you for letting me up, and I'm glad I put you up on it and nobody says shit. But yeah, when y'all see that explosion later on, I see you. Tell me what you think. All right, thank you. I'm gonna get down.
Well, I saw the initial reports. I just didn't see that New York was on alert. That's what I didn't see.
Yeah. Well, what I'm kind of
Yeah.
upset about is they only use New York and not everybody else. I get it because of the money, but what about the bodies? What about the humans? These
Mm.
people are spread throughout America like the flu. They're in some of the places that you wouldn't even think they are, and they're in some of these white tea places where they can take out places like Iowa where you got all them pink people and shit at. And so my question is, even though they feel like they put New York because New York holds all the money and shit like this, what about the bodies? Because you leaving everybody else ass out there. And once again, these people are everywhere. Ain't nobody safe. Every country, every county in America should be on high alert. Everybody should be looking at everybody,
Mhm.
especially It don't look like us, and some of us is promised because they're angry at America, especially some of these white tea or some of them others that come into this country and they're pissed off anyway. You know what I'm saying? So hell, goddamn, yeah. So I know for me, I don't take when he said New York. As far as I'm concerned, that's everybody. Now, but people like, well, oh, it's just New York. It ain't me. Well, bitch, you go right ahead. Cause a bitch like me, every minute I got my sunroof open, looking up in the sky and looking from side to side to my 6 and to my 9. Fuck what they talking about.
We're going to be,
Shit.
well, heaven forbid, sacrificial lamb comes into mind.
Hmm.
And look at you know what I realized? Ma'am Danny, I think, was a representative in Albany. Albany is the capital of New York. For some reason, he left that seat to come down here. And now they got, I think her name is Gillibrand. Somebody named Kirsten, white tea chick, right? They put her in that seat. They had a special election, and it just didn't seem right to me, the switching around that they were doing. I hope I'm explaining that correct.
Yeah, you
I
are,
don't know.
but
It just seemed really weird,
you are, and I
right?
always wonder why they did that. And is it because of the demographic? But let me tell you what I peep. I think it's something changed.
Good morning, Lady.
He's in Congress. I forget his first name, but he sent us all an email, girl, and asking if he would run, would we vote for him? So my reply was, I said, well, ain't no Asian did a motherfucking thing for the black community, so I'm not voting for nobody. I'm not voting for you. I'm not voting for the Mexicans. And I probably said way nastier than what I'm telling you. I promise you I did. So I noticed he must have got a negative feedback on him running, and I seen him jump up, and he moved to a whole other county and ran for that shit, and now he ended up getting that seat. So I think that's what they be
Ah,
doing, like putting some shit out there to see how they gonna do. But for that dude that went up there and ran, I guarantee you, he looked over them demographic maps and seen that if he had a possible chance, it would only be New York, because he wasn't gonna get no seat unless and he was probably gonna get knocked out where he was. I mean, as far as the elevation,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
you know what I
Thank you
mean?
for
Because
the good.
look how New York did. I mean, goddamn, and then got the audacity talking about they're gonna turn it into a Muslim. I noticed that after he had that meeting with Trump, he piped some of that shit down. But yeah, they got. And let me just say this: I smoke a lot of cannabis, and so I be going to these smoke shops getting the swishers and shit. And a lot of them be these Muslims and shit. And girl, they had the nerve, BX, to be like, yeah, Trump don't know who he effing with. Um, watch it, he's gonna get taken out. Us Muslims, we don't. And I'm just looking. I'm like, what? You an armed MF country, and you saying what? And this is how they
Right.
talking on our soil, BX. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, as almost like we came here, you can't do nothing about it, and they ready to go to domestic WAR about it. Cause I couldn't believe what come out these people's mouth. Do y'all know y'all guessed? Do y'all know y'all guessed? And I'm not kind of sure what kind of power you got, but baby, America got the upper hand on you, all y'all that's over here on this soil. The only thing that you gonna have the upper on is when you attach something to your body or car. But other than that, you people you go get a rude awakening because the citizens go take arms.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna leave that shit alone. It is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, chaos. They did allow it. I say it all the time. I don't put it in the atmosphere, but I got military people and shit. I'm gonna tell you right now, America got WAR crimes against them. They have done the most heinous shit, and people don't like to speak on it. And so when I look, especially when it comes like the Muslim, the Arabs, the Palestine, and when I see them big like that, I know where that shit came from. I know how we went invaded and what we did to these countries and how we utilized their people against them and how they brought them out. Hell, if you go listen to any of the documentaries from the military men will tell you that these people, they came over here, served our country, did all this shit for our country, and they don't even live not a speck of the way they set these people up. I mean, they set these people up in these brand new mansions, brand new like Benzes, give them a $250,000. This is how they doing them. And like the military men said, they don't never gotta want nothing in life once they come to America, and that's how America do it. But yet the American people here, like they said, we don't have a clue. We working every day hard trying to get to where the government automatically gave them shit at. So yeah,
Because
absolutely, absolutely, they got a big hand on what's playing along our soil, from the border and from the airplane, messing with these people's countries, trying to be bullies. But
it's
okay, BX, I'm gonna get
crazy.
down, baby. You probably gotta go. I gotta go too. I just like I said, I got to talk to you. I just wanted to check up on you, make sure you was all right and shit. Um, and put that out there
Yeah, my
that
son just went
everybody
out to
should be
make
on
sure he
alert,
had.
not just New York, but everybody. They're not being
Yeah.
honest, and they're not being fair by doing that, because even though and anybody know about the politics, they'll know if they follow the money, they'll know New York will be go be it. But if you care about the human, then you tell the New York people, not because the money there, and you tell everybody else, because nobody's safe. It's not like all these people are in New York. That's a damn lie. They're everywhere. So, all right, I'm gonna get down, baby. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Dread, are you still in the room? So I guess I'll end it on this note with addressing the domestic terrorism possibility in New York. So, according to Gemini AI overview, while there is currently no specific credible threat of a domestic terrorist attack in New York City, federal and local agencies have moved to a high alert status. The concern is not based on a known plot in progress, but rather on a strategic assessment that Iran has long-term sleeper capabilities that could be activated in retaliation for Operation Epic Fury. And then it goes on to say, here is the current breakdown of the domestic threat landscape as of February 28, 2026. The sleeper cell and proxy risks. The FBI and DHS have long tracked individuals in the U.S. Big Stepper was just speaking on that. With ties to the IRGC, which is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and Hezbollah. The assessment: intelligence suggests Iran maintains contingency assets or small clandestine cities like New York. These cells are typically tasked with surveillance, but could be ordered to conduct off-the-shelf, attacks, low-tech strikes with little preparation time if the conflict escalates. Targeting: historically, Iranian backplots in the U.S. Individuals, government officials, vocal dissidents, rather than mass casualty public attacks, though the latter cannot be ruled out during an active WAR. Jisaloo, right? And I think that's it. Unless anybody would want to come up and address the prompts. I did have one after that about the midterms and Pan-African versus Pan-American. Which one is the cult? Because I got to tell you, they both act cult-like and then turn around and say we are. All right, so New York is on alert. But until the Wi-Fi goes out, unless I'm asleep. Okay, let's see who this is. Oh, Dre, he came back. Hey,
Hey, I had
you
to.
okay? Everything all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I had just returning text messages and responded to some things. Took a little bit of time, but I'm back. Yes, I was. Yeah, I was listening
Okay,
though. Yeah,
you was
but
listening. I, I don't feel like nervous, but I do wonder it could be another 911 again type of thing, you know? Yeah. In which case, then, if we speak in New York City, I would worry about my oldest in the Bronx or Yonkers.
yeah.
So, yeah.
New York is densely populated
I don't
too.
think there's any place to target in the Bronx unless they're going for that hip hop museum. But in light of fact, Joe, I think that does need to go. So maybe bulldoze it, not boom it, you know. Go ahead, Dred. Just try to make light of
Yeah, but yeah,
the situation.
a lot of times when you talk about domestic terrorism, what they try to do is try to harm people that are in densely populated areas. So that's another reason why they might look at New York or something like that.
Yeah. Good morning, prime time.
Yeah, so they can get more bang for
I
their
don't know, but
bucks.
everybody stay on the left.
Oh yeah, definitely
Yeah.
stay on alert. I'm
And
out
it
here.
causes more chaos. We keep trying to talk at the same time. Go ahead, you got it.
Oh, my bad. I
No,
feel
go
like
ahead.
I'm out here in the suburbs. I'm around a whole bunch of YT people and Latino people. I don't know. I don't know if I'm really gonna run into any like Iranians or anything like that. But you never know.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
at least you'll be well protected in case Iranians decide to run y'all. You know, because all the white people probably got some real high-powered computers in their home,
Yeah. You make a good point.
right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what these folks around here got. I don't think them Glock 9s will harm anybody, but the key with them, with the other demographic, but I just found it weird the way New York was changing, allowing prayer in the street when there are mosques. It's just like really weird having people saying they run this or they taking over that, and you look at it in real time. I feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie. And when I say taking over, I mean throughout the nation. You know how the Africans would come up there and stuff. Don't
Yeah.
forget, many of them are Muslim too.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah. So it makes you kind of question whether or not people will have um, some sort of loyalty of what may be perceived as a religious, war or versus their nationality or ethnic group. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta look at it from that perspective. You know what I'm
Thank
saying?
you. 1 minute, Dred. Thank you, Chaos, for stopping by. Chaos says, I got to go. May peace, prosperity, and protection be with you, family. Stay vigilant, stay dangerous.
Oh yeah,
Likewise.
no doubt. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful outside here in Texas. Beautiful, sunny.
Lucky y'all. I still
Got a
see
nice little
snow.
breeze. Oh yeah.
Ugh. So, I was looking up midterm before we got over onto the other topic. I think this is where it counts. Like, if we want to get the likes of, I don't even know if Yvette Park's seat is coming up, but state and local and getting some of those politicians out who aren't doing anything for us. Let me see, what is midterm elections? Let's see. Because we want to be an informed space. Good morning, Kiki Lolo. And it says midterm elections are the general elections in the United States held near the midpoint of a president's 4-year term. In our current context, the 2026 midterms, scheduled for Tuesday, November 3rd, 2026, are a critical barometer for public opinion on the Trump administration's handling of both the economy and the escalating conflict with Iran. What's on the ballot? Unlike presidential elections, the presidency itself is not up for vote. Instead, the focus is on the legislative branch. So it's the U.S. House of Representatives. All 435 seats are up for election. Representatives serve 2-year terms, so the entire House is refreshed every 2 years. U.S. Senate, about 1/3 of the Senate, 35 out of 100 seats in 2026 is up for election. Senators serve 6 years, staggered terms. State and local offices. This year, 36 states are also electing governors. Thousands of state legislators, mayors, and local judges are also on the ballot. I want to know if Yvette Park and EOC is up for, like, what part of the house are they in? Hmm. Uh-huh. Okay, listen to what they say. Control of Congress. If the opposition party, Democrats, wins the House or Senate, they can block the president's judicial appointments and legislative agenda. The midterm curse. Historic President's Party almost always loses seats in the midterms, with the GOP's current slim majority. Even small losses could lead to a divided government. Oversight and investigation. A shift in House control would likely lead to increased oversight and potentially new investigations into the administration's foreign policy and military actions in the Middle East. Voter referendum. Many see this as a nationalized election, a direct vote on the president's popularity and the country's direction. We can't let the Dems get the control. Let me see if Yvette Clark is. Let me see. Dems who are up for re-election during the midterm. You know, this is going to make political scholars out of us all. This period. Huh? Because I'm researching stuff I never thought I would have to research.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me tell you something. I got a feeling the Republicans are going to lose a lot of seats. A lot of people are,
Dang.
yeah, a lot of people are not happy with, the cost of consumer goods. Inflation hasn't been corrected as quickly as people would like to see, and now we are involved in a foreign war. You know what I'm saying? So, man, Republicans is about to be I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction. They're going to lose a lot of seats. So they're going to lose the Senate and Congress. That's my prediction for midterms.
So I don't have one, but I can read what Chat GPT put up. And then my search term was Dems who are up for re-election during the midterms. And what it produced is, in the 2026 midterm elections, the Democratic Party faces a challenging landscape. With Republicans currently holding a majority in both the House and the Senate, Democrats are focused on defending several key seats while attempting to flip others to regain control of Congress. Here's the breakdown of prominent Democrats up for re-election or facing major contests. There are 13 Democratic held. Okay, so in the U.S. Senate Class 2, there are 13 Democratic held seats up for re-election. Because the map features many safe blue states, the GOP is zeroing in on a few specific toss-up races. Say it's the most vulnerable, running in a swing state that Trump won in 2024. His name is John Ossoff. Then we have Colorado, John Hickenlooper. Seeking a second term, Colorado has trended blue but remains competitive. Gary Peters of Michigan, open seat. Peters is retiring, leaving a high-stakes battle in a critical swing state. Tina Smith, Minnesota, open seat. Tina is retiring. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan and Representative Angie Craig are lead contenders. Jeanne Shaheen, New Hampshire, open seat. Shaheen is retiring. Representative Chris Pappas is the likely Democratic frontrunner. Mark Warner, Virginia, a veteran incumbent in a state that has seen shifting margins recently. Cory Booker, New Jersey, generally considered a safe seat for Democrats. Dick Durbin, Illinois, open seat. Durbin is retiring, triggering a primary in a deep blue state. Good morning, Ronnie Mack. The U.S. House of Representatives, all 214 Democratic incumbents barring retirements are technically up for re-election, as House terms are only 2 years. The frontline Democrat, the DCCC, is prioritizing the defense of 14 Democrats who represent that Donald Trump won in the 2024 election. Key retirements. Several high-profile Democrats have announced they will not seek re-election, including Nancy Pelosi, Steny Hoyer, he's from Maryland, Pelosi's from California, and Gerald Nadler, New York. These open seats often trigger expensive and crowded primary battles. Gubernatorial races, governor. There are 36 governorships on the ballot in 2026. This is a massive year for state level leadership. Kathy Hochul, running for her second full term despite early rumors of a primary challenge. She recently secured endorsements from Mayor Zoran Mamdani, of course, and Alexandria Cortez. Oh, God. And then Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania, a high-profile incumbent in a critical battleground state. Katie Hobbs, Arizona, defending her seat in a state with razor-thin margins. Open seats, term limited. Democrats are losing some of their most popular national figures to term limits, including Gavin Newsom, California, Gretchen Whitmer, Michigan, and Jared Polis, Colorado. The battles to replace them will be among the most watched in the country. The big picture, and then I'll end it here. The 2026 midterms are being framed as a referendum on the Trump administration's military actions in Iran, as a subsequent economic volatility. Okay, let me read that again. And the subsequent economic volatility. Democrats are hoping to replicate their 2018 success by tapping into anti-administration sentiment, while Republicans aim to expand their majorities by highlighting national security and domestic energy independence. What do you think about all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some of those seats that are pretty much going to go as landslide victories for the incumbents. I think Nadler's going to be safe in New York. I think Booker's going to be safe, but I think a lot of Dems are going to re-win their seats, and I think a lot of Republicans, maybe I'll take back a lot. I think enough of Republicans will lose their seats, and the Dems will take the Senate and Congress. That's my prediction. That's my official prediction. I think that may be the reason that the president is, going full out on some of his initiatives, like even the WAR over there in Iran. While he has a Republican Senate and Congress, he's going to do as much as he can. He's going to do as much of his work that he wants to do before he starts to see all the pushback and possibly being overruled, so to speak, by the other branches of government. So, but yeah, that's what I think. That's my official prediction. I could be wrong. I don't know everything, but that's my official prediction.
Listen, I need us on the ball. You hear me? Yvette Clarke is up for re-election, and let me tell you what they say. And then, hey, Ronnie, and then I'll let you provide your thoughts, Ronnie. But I want to, Yvette Clarke and AOC are like my nemesis, I guess you could say. I really need them out of their seats. So here we go.
Yeah, they gotta go.
Yvette Clarke is also, right? She's also the head of the CBC. Let that be motivation for people, especially in New York. Y'all got to help me get the word out to my New Yorkers. So, I said, is Yvette Clarke of New York up for re-election? The answer was yes. Yvette Clarke is running for re-election in 2026 to represent New York's 9th congressional district, covering Central and South Brooklyn. As of today, February 28, 2026, she has officially declared her candidacy and is actively fundraising for what is shaping up to be a more competitive primary season than she has faced in recent years. Key dates for her campaign: filing deadline, April 6, 2026, the date by which all candidates must officially submit their paperwork. Primary election, June 23, 2026. This is the most critical hurdle for her, given the district's heavy Democratic lean. General election, November 3rd. I'm independent, so I can't vote in any primary. And then they go on to say the primary challenge. While Clarke has held this seat since 2007, she is facing several Democratic challengers this year who are running on grassroots and socialist platforms. Oh, I gotta reach out for interviews. Hoping to capitalize on a desire for new leadership. Her declared primary opponents include Joshua Bristol, Michael Goldfarb, Joshua Caton Lucas. None of these sound like Black Americans. I gotta look at some images. Campaign snapshot. Clark enters the race with a significant incumbent advantage, but her financial reports show she's taken the challenge seriously. Fundraising. As of the most recent FEC filing, which was December 31st, 2025, Clark had raised approximately $671,000 this cycle. Ratings. National analysts like the Cook Political Report currently rank the district as solid Democratic, meaning whoever wins the June primary is almost guaranteed to win the general election in November. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Ronnie. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Okay, you see me in here reading about the elections, reading about New York being on high alert due to the Iran and USA conflict.
When I got in, I didn't hear that bit, but I wanted to ask you: are these spaces recorded, and do you have like a channel that you upload them to?
Yes, all rooms are recorded, and it's up to us to either download them or leave them be, right? As a guest, I do allow the guests the highlights, but I do upload it to my YouTube.
Okay,
Much
well,
love.
okay. Well, that's all I was asking. So, how can I find your YouTube?
I give it to you in the back chat. I just don't want like everybody else. I'm starting to see that all the rooms are compromised, even by the people who tell us don't call ourselves black. So I got a nice little following over there, organic growth, but there ain't nobody there harassing me. It's one of my safe spaces. So I could give it to you in your inbox.
Yeah, thank you. Because I was just,
You're
yeah. Because
welcome.
if I do miss some of this good information, I just wanted to see if there was like a playback that I could get to. That's all.
Yes, of course, of course.
All right. Well, thank you.
Um, Wait, don't drop.
All
I
right.
gotta put you on the spot, Ronnie.
All right.
This is the final day of Black History Month, but we do segments, Black History Month, not Black History 365. So our history doesn't fit in a month. We actually go all year. But if you had your choice of an inventor, Black American, of course, to talk about today, who would you choose?
Um, Hold on, because I don't want to butcher her name. Doctor.
No problem.
Hold on. 1 second.
Of course. Good morning, Jerika. It's the final day of Black History Month. March is Women's Month, so we'll be spotlighting Black American women. And Sister Keita asks that we don't leave out the men, so that it'll be Black couples, like Black American couples that made an impact, and also highlighting Black American women, because we're going to lay the gender WAR and gender divide to rest. Right? We've always been in a fight together anyway.
All right, so Dr. Mary Ann Croak, she was the one that is responsible for the voice over internet protocol communication. She has over 200 patents, and in 2022, she was inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. So
Nice.
I thought that was pretty cool. And she's I want to hold on. Let me see if she's still alive. Hold on 1 second.
No problem. So I'm going to say happy birthday to Jerika, aka JoJo. Today, she says, today is also my 40th birthday. And with the birthday cake. Happy birthday to you. Go ahead, Dredd. You the singer. Damn it. You was up all night singing karaoke over there. Then he
What
probably
happened?
act like he don't
What I just get thrown into? I got through under the
I
bus.
said sing happy birthday to Sister Jerika, Sister JoJo, because you was over there. I get off a live at 3:45 and Dread is on somebody's platform. So I messaged him, right? Because I don't like following behind him and Simon. I always get put in these weird rooms. But he said he was doing karaoke. So now it's Jerika's birthday. I tried to sing happy birthday to you, but he's the one with the vocals. So I said, you was singing all night over there. Come sing right here. Happy birthday to Sister Jerika. Go
Happy
ahead. Make sure
birthday.
you hit every note too.
Happy
Yeah,
birthday. Happy birthday, JoJo. Happy birthday.
yeah. Happy
Happy
birthday to you.
birthday. You don't put me on the spot now.
You're kind of low, and I don't hear any,
I,
tunes behind me. I
well,
don't hear no
well,
melody, no
I was just
harmonizing. What's going on?
I was just saying happy birthday, JoJo. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not about to sing. You're not about to put me on the spot, pressure me. You know, I
Don't
I
blame it on me. Let me see if that's not fair. Just a little note, Dread. Act like it's karaoke.
mm, see. You
I'm gonna
know
go on
what?
mute while you,
I would have did it. I would have did it, but it's just like I feel like I'm on the spot now. Now I'm
Ah,
shy. I'm
okay.
shy. I'm
I'm
bashful right
sorry.
now.
And Miss JoJo says you don't have to sing.
Well, happy birthday to you. And yeah, I just checked. So like when the tethers like to get up here and discredit stuff and say, you guys always talk about inventions and stuff from way back when. Well, yeah, Dr. Marianne Croak, she's alive in 2026, and like I said, she has over 200 patents to her
Wow.
name, and she's alive now. So what you think
That's
about that?
yeah.
So,
And Mama Ani saying happy birthday to JoJo.
so yeah. So
Happy
thank you,
birthday to
thank
you.
you, thank you, BX, and I will hit you in the back channels. I appreciate it.
No problem. You're welcome. And so, okay. So do you think midterms that couch is an option, Dread?
Um, you know what? After hearing what I just heard about some of the people that are on the ballot, I don't think so. Especially like in New York with Yvette Clark, still in power, so to speak, and you have an opportunity to get her out. I don't think the couch is an option. For New York for sure. Um, here, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Here in Texas, it's almost gridlocked. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the candidate is for the most part. Um, we know who gonna win some of these elections. But yeah, y'all got to get out. Y'all
I
got to
don't think
mobilize in New York. Get Yvette Clark the hell out of there.
we do. But I can't vote in the primaries. If people could come together in I guess, in her district and stuff, then I think because she's been in that scene since 2007, she has openly called for years for immigrants to come to her district. Now I realize all of this is coming to my attention, but I realize that's to keep her vote, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, her district, that would be the first step. Making sure
and
she
yeah.
cannot sit on the
Somebody in the
New York
comments said,
caucus, right?
yeah. I was just gonna say somebody in the comments said the couch is
Yeah,
not an
Mama
option
Ani.
for any of us. Yeah, Mama Ani said we have to vet and work to get our people in. Yeah, I totally understand
Yes.
that. I get that. There's a lot at stake, especially when you talk about these black faces that are in high places that are skin folk, but they're not kin folk. We got to get these people out of there. We can't have these people misrepresenting our political priorities. We can't have these people subverting our political priorities, voting against things that are important to Black Americans, so that they can promote immigrants, promote those who have not shed blood for this country to get to where it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like their entire platforms are based on essentially replacing the Black American in our economy, in our society, and we got to get those types of black politicians, so-called black politicians, we got to get them out of their seats. They are doing more damage than anybody, in my opinion. They got to go. Talking about the Byron Donalds type of people that are anti-reparations, and then on reparations, I got a little bit of ADHD. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I think I got ADHD. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. But dig this. Speaking of reparations, a lot of people who came from a Pan-Africanist mindset and Pan-Africanist indoctrination believed that in order to get reparations, we had to be and claim the African enslaved people, and that was a big part of it. I was in a Pan-Africanist room the other day, and I got a screenshot of someone saying, hey, these indigenous people are messing it up for us, who are going for reparations or something to that effect. You can't get reparations if you aren't African, or essentially. So they are still. There's a lot of people that were indoctrinated to still believe that the enslaved people of America were only African, and that's not true. That's and that leads me to a very important point. Somebody passed away by the name of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Reverend Jesse Jackson was essentially a reparationist. He ran on a reparations platform in 1980, and I believe it was 1988. It was either 80 and 88 or 84 and 88. I forget, but that leads me to think that if someone believes that in order to achieve the goal of reparations, you have to claim African because of the indoctrination that the only people that were enslaved were African enslaved people who came here through the transatlantic slave trade. I think you can see where logically, he thought that he was doing a good thing by making us so-called African Americans. That was in his mind a bridge or a connection of dots to get us closer to reparations by saying we are descendants of those African people who were enslaved. We are the African Americans. And there are still a lot of people that still believe that in order to get reparations, you have to claim the African part because they think that's the linchpin, that's the basis of who was enslaved and who deserves reparation. The African part is the key for a lot of people. So even though Reverend Jesse Jackson's legacy has seen better days, I think he was trying. Even though it was outside of the box, I think he was trying to do something that was admirable, which is run on a reparations platform and try to get us closer to reparations. Did it backfire? Yeah, it did backfire because it caused a lot of confusion and it caused flat blackness to kind of be more pervasive as the melanated immigrants started pouring in from the continent. So now, hey, I'm African and now I'm American, so that means I'm African American. And even though these people know they aren't technically the group that was identified as African American, but they do still fit the definition, so to speak. The legal definition or the OMB definition. So I just wanted to put that out there that Reverend Jackson was a reparationist, and there are still reparationists that think that the African part is the key to reparations. I just wanted to point that out. So I really hate that his legacy has taken such a gut punch, in his passing. But I still have a lot of respect for him, especially to go on a national stage and put reparations at the forefront, and be a Black American that did so. Very proud of that brother. He was not perfect. But God rest his soul.
Right, and he ran for president. Trump paid for, right, financed his campaign. But this is what I always remember my parents saying, especially my mom. She said then they started threatening Jesse Jackson's life and he dropped out. Does that sound familiar?
When it comes to he actually lost. He was running as a Democrat. He lost the Democratic primaries. However, young people, the youth, loved Jesse Jackson and his message of change and positivity and hope. Hope was his motto, his message, and keep hope alive. And it resonated with young people who wanted to see change. And
But
those,
he ran twice, right?
yeah,
Right, so one of those times he dropped out, correct?
I'm not 100%
I
sure.
can look it up,
I
but
I
go
just
ahead.
I just know he did not get um the
The
Democratic
nomination from the
nomination.
Dems.
Yeah, that's so I don't know if you would consider that dropping out. But when you no longer have the apparatus, the Democratic apparatus behind you, you no longer have the millions and billions of dollars behind you, and the support and the promotion behind you. Then at what point do you call it a day? But yeah, yeah, he did not win the primary. However, my point was that he resonated with
Thank
young
you, Mama
people, and
Annie.
when it came to young voters in the primary, he actually won the vote with the younger voters. He got the most votes from a particular age group. I think it was up to like age 35 or something like that. The younger voters up to age 35. He won that, and I think that's a very monumental task to win, any demographic as the underdog in the Democratic primaries. So I think he did great. And I think it was a miscalculation to try to name us African Americans. However, he was going for the goal of getting us closer to reparations.
So before I go into his life was threatened, and I'm going to read the particulars. Do you think that would change the naysayers about Jesse Jackson and why he named us or volunteered that ethnonym for our lineage? Do you think it would change their mind if they felt reparations was the goal?
I think some will, but I think a lot of people have their heels dug in. They've gone too far at this point, and what I noticed on TikTok is that it became a show. It became a show of who can say the most, disgusting things about this man in his passing. Who can say the most, who can be funny and say something rude and disgusting that would disturb his family and members and children and grandchildren, great grandchildren that might be scrolling through these TikTok streets. It became a big show and a big joke. So for those who are kind of disingenuous and that they kind of have their heels dug in, it will mean nothing. But for those who seriously take a look at the fact that many reparationists in the past and even some today that are Pan-Africanists believe that saying that you're African is a key to reparations, they will understand and say, you know what, you might be onto something, especially with him running on that platform.
I'm gonna say this. I don't like to disparage, the deceased. So I won't be disparaging. I'm just gonna say, somewhere along the lines, I believe him and Reverend Al Sharpton have lost what was the original intention. Because never once did I hear Jesse Jackson say or answer or even pick up the call. I don't think he was sick when ADOS got started. Like, did he make any recent modern day um, addresses about reparations? I know Reverend Al Sharpton's network is his people come to the New York reparations hearings. But I'm just lost on what Jesse Jackson did in light of reparations in recent times.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
would you say within the last 15 years, last decade and a half or so?
I'd say decade.
Okay, I could Google it. I can look into it. I could definitely look into it and see what he's done to move the needle and support reparations. I think people also forget. Because, yeah, I could Google that. I'm in my laptop right now. I think people also forget that Jesse Jackson was the person that said, he got caught on a hot mic or whatever, saying that he wanted to, cut Barack Obama's cojones off, his cojones off. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't say it in that word. He said balls. You know what I'm saying? Because Barack Obama was talking about Black Americans needing to learn Spanish. Essentially to placate to those rising numbers of Mexican and Spanish immigrants that were coming into the country. That was a part of why he responded like that. Why he wasn't messing with Barack Obama at that time. Now he did come out and apologize, but at the same time, Jesse wasn't really rocking with him like that. For the most part, because of some of the immigrationist ideologies and wanting Black people to placate to other immigrant groups, and that we have to learn Spanish because of them coming into our country that we built. But I'll look into what he's done or said in the last 15 years. Maybe I'll go as far as 20 years.
Thank you. Akita, you gotta, if you sent the request, take it back and send it right now. I can accept it while I have my laptop open. So far, I'm seeing people, but I'm not seeing you, Akita. Unless you Harriet Tubman's shoddy. And nah, that don't look like you though. I'll leave this up while. Hopefully she's still in the room. And thank you for the gifts. Oh, young Key. I thought I was following you already. I saw you yesterday. I thought I hit the follow button. Let me see. But I still have to accept you here, right? That's all of me. Okay, let's go to activity. Let's go to follow requests. People will send you a request after you just drag them on a panel. I'm like, now why would y'all think I would let y'all on my page after that? Yeah, she could. I think that. You got it, Dread? I'm here. Good morning, Big Capricorn.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm here. So in the 2000s, Reverend Jesse Jackson continued to advocate for slavery reparations, framing them as essential compensation for unpaid labor. So in the 2000, in his DNC speech, to the Democratic National Convention on August 16, 2000, Jackson emphasized that we must address Africa, which subsidized America's development for 200 years of work without wages. We must repair the damage and seek reparations. And you talk, and that kind of goes to what I said about him renaming us, or attempting to rename us Africans in order to, connect us to reparations, because those of a certain generation were indoctrinated to believe that the people who were enslaved were only Africans. They went and got the Africans, the whole roots story. They got the Africans, and that's who it was. That's who was. That's who deserved
Thank you, Mama
reparations.
Annie.
So
Hey,
as recent as
David.
the
Mhm.
2000 DNC speech, he emphasized repairing damage and seeking reparations. So let's see.
I just want our people to be realistic. That just because he transitioned doesn't mean there's not a process that we have to follow to get the term African American. Thank you. Mama Ani says, of course, Auntie, we in here. I'm loving the conversation and safety to educate. Thank you. There's still a formal process to get that word removed. So,
You know what's crazy? What's crazy is how easily they added it, but how difficult it is to get rid of it. And I don't think that's by any accident, and at all. I think it's they're being willful in dragging their feet in removing this stuff and making sure that it's more difficult to remove African American from our ethnonyms. They're doing it on purpose. At this point, it's almost like when you accidentally overpay on a bill or something like that. They had no problem, taking your money, but it's gonna take a long time for them to give you your money back. Oh yeah, it's gonna
oh,
take
I
us
hate
about,
that.
7 business days. Oh, 7 business days? But my money went to your account within a matter of seconds. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's kind of a similar situation. They took our ethnonym of black and of Negro. They took it overnight with a swipe of a pen, and we've been stuck with African American for some decades now, and it's a lot slower process to get rid of it. Now we waiting our 7 business days to get back to who we were, who we
Thank you
are,
for the gift.
or updating it to something that's more specific so that other people can't flat black us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So going back on his run for presidency, well, his bid for presidency, and I asked, was Jesse Jackson's life threatened when he ran for presidency? And they said yes. Jesse Jackson's life was severely and frequently threatened during his presidential runs in 1984 and 1988. In fact, he is often cited as one of the most threatened presidential candidates in American history up to that point. Because of the volume and nature of these threats, many of which were racially motivated, he was granted Secret Service protection much earlier in the campaign cycle than was standard for other candidates. And then it goes on to say record-breaking threats. During his 1984 campaign, Jackson reportedly received more unaliving threats than any other candidate in the field. His daughter, Santita Jackson, recently reflected that he was the most threatened politician, a presidential candidate in history during that era. Nature of the threats. The threats came from multiple sources and for various reasons. Racial animosity. As the first, they used the term African American, y'all. As the first African American man to mount a major high profile national campaign for the presidency, he became a target for white supremacist groups and individuals opposed to civil rights progress. And then it says political tensions. His outspoken stance on controversial foreign policy issues, such as his call for a Palestinian homeland, led to confrontations with groups like the Small Hats Defense League, whose members occasionally heckled his events with aggressive rhetoric. The climate of violence, having been present at the Lorraine Motel when his mentor, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., was unalived in 1968, Jackson was acutely aware of the physical risks associated with his leadership role. And then it goes on to early Secret Service protection. The threat level was deemed so high that the Treasury Department authorized a Secret Service detail for him in November 1983, almost immediately after he announced his candidacy. This was unusual because protection is typically reserved for major candidates much later in the primary season. Photographs from that era famously show Jackson playing basketball or jogging while surrounded by his security detail, illustrating how constant the protection had to be. Impact on the campaign, and then I'll wrap it up here. Despite the danger, Jackson famously used the slogan, "Keep Hope Alive," to rally his supporters. He frequently addressed the risk in his speeches, noting that while he was willing to life for his beliefs, he was focused on expanding the Rainbow Coalition, a movement aimed at including the marginalized regardless of race or class. Yeah, I'm sorry that his life was threatened, but we ain't need that mess. That Rainbow Coalition, it had to go. Go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
So
especially
so
from New York.
so it is still Black History Month. So I want to spotlight something that people forget that Reverend Jackson did. This was a brave man, right? Um, do you know that he engaged in hostage negotiations to free American citizens that were captured in other countries, in foreign countries? And he was traveling. I'm talking about traveling as a concerned citizen to negotiate the freeing of hostages, of American hostages in foreign countries. You talk about how brave you would have to be to just say, you know what, I'm getting these people out of there, and you just board a plane. I'm talking about Bush and Reagan. They called it dubious diplomacy. They, even though he was successful in getting Americans freed from foreign nations, Americans who were held hostage, freed from foreign nations, he was unofficially traveling on behalf of the United States, and Reverend Jackson called himself a citizen diplomat, going behind, enemy lines to negotiate freeing hostages. Man, this man is a legend. You know what I'm saying? And some people are just so, I would say, against the term African American, that's all they can see now. So now they see red, and and they allowed it to erase his legacy, for them, and in 1984 he went to Syria and negotiated with President Hafez al-Assad to free U.S. Navy pilot Robert Goodman, who had been held for 30 days after being shot down over Lebanon. This man jumped on a plane and went and negotiated that himself. This brother's a legend, you know what I'm saying? And another thing, I have a close friend that worked for, the King Center for many years, and the King family remained close with Reverend Jackson. So all the rumors that he's the one that set him up, the King family don't feel like that. The King family, mourned his loss. Reverend Jackson would come to the King Center and meet with the family. Bernice King and his other children. And so
You went out for a little bit there. I don't know. Dread. You went out a little bit. The ancestors might have said, okay, you said enough. We get it. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But you did go out. I'm going to say this. He did do marvelous things with negotiations and stuff. He did get that one thing wrong. The identifier, if it was, because as soon as you started reading it, I hope you can hear me.
yeah, I hear you. I'm sorry. I had a phone call
Oh,
coming
you
through.
got
I
a
didn't
phone
even
call.
realize that somebody was calling me. I looked down at my phone. I saw.
I started thinking that too, but at the end of the day, it has caused a kerfuffle. I don't know why I like to say that word. I say that's the pesky Europeans. We got that
Mm,
Euro blood too.
yeah,
It caused a kerfuffle
yeah.
for Black Americans. And the fight is not over to get that word out of youth. And to be honest, Dred, I'm gonna tell you what I feel like. The Pan-Africans, the Boule or whoever is attached to the term African American is going to put up one hell of a fight for us to get it out. But we got to be steadfast and remember endurance. I want to point out that when you were mentioning when I was reading how many times he was threatened, why he had to have Secret Service protect him, Mama Ani was saying, wow, even more than Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm is a Caribbean woman. They she, it sounds noble, first black woman to run for office on the Democratic ticket or whatever. We do have Charlene Mitchell, who ran before Shirley Chisholm, and I guess we'll talk about her during March, because it is Women's History Month, but we're going to make it Black American Women's History Month, and we're going to make it Black American Love, because those women will have very strong men who back them, who probably was their partners, husbands. We're going to do couples, We're going to spotlight the community. Yeah. And we got to talk about Barbara Jordan. She is the one who helped. And I got to say shout out to Sister Wolfie, because I don't like expounding on people's information that they give me without giving them proper credit, right? I guess that's the journalist in me. I'm supposed to cite my sources. So she did mention Barbara Jordan first to me, and also Charlene Mitchell, right? So when Wolfie is teaching, or even when she's going off, she's going to be teaching. Take notes. Barbara Jordan is the one who helped Clinton with the legal framework that says expedited removal, and depending on how a person comes into this country, they have no due process. So, I'll be going with it. So before I made the connection to Barbara Jordan, that Sister Wolfie used to talk about, I was already speaking on expedited removal, but always like puzzle to pieces, the pieces come into play, and I put them all together nicely and I package it up. But I always like to shout out the people that gave me the information. So when people are saying Trump is doing this and ICE is not moving, they're not following the law, those people have rights. Depending on how they came in this country, they ain't got no rights. They ain't got no due process. They got the process to take their ass home to their homeland, and I think the country has been gracious enough. But going back to Jesse Jackson, yes, may he rest in peace. I think he got it really wrong with the term African American. We'll never know his mindset unless he wrote about it somewhere, and I just did not read it. But I don't want my people to be fooled that the term is now deceased with him. There are a lot of staunch Pan-Africans. I think Brother Simon, I was hoping he would stop by. We do know he's a lobbyist. Him and his lobbying group rallied at the OMB with the term Black American Negro Descendants of Freedmen. And if you read the petition, I guess I'll post it. I believe there should be a letter or something, or an explanation as to what the Urban League did. So there are organizations out there that's going to combat us at every turn. So this is supposed to be a motivational speech, a real speech telling you the real obstacles we could face. And I'm probably being nice because I'm not aware of everything. But we will have opposition just based off of this app alone. We got to know that. So I want everybody to understand it's always a process. It's like Dre said, it's easy to get the term established. It's hard to take him out unless you got Obama in office, and he ain't a Negro anyway, so what the hell did he care when he removed it?
Right. Exactly.
But now we left here scrambling. So, yeah, going and negotiating, that is one of the hardest things to do. Negotiate, because you're dealing with two different temperaments, and if they're both being spitfires, you got to get them to a place of calm where you can rationalize with them. And I know from my experience, when I'm at a certain level, I got to tell you, me and Sister Kyla, we had a back and forth. And when we got to talk about it again and she apologized to me, I accepted the apology. There was no back and forth. I wasn't in the same space as when we were arguing. And for me, that's growth. But Catch me somewhere in another space, there may never be an apology. I don't want to hear shut the fuck up. I'm going to get real New York on you, real. And a lot of people think that's why we aggressive. Look at all the shit we dealing with and all the different demographics. We always got to have our guard up. So
Yeah.
it's just, but when we are in loving surroundings, with family, with friends, look how soft and vulnerable we are. But so I want to say that that's growth. So what he did when he went, especially internationally, and you know they don't like black people anywhere, to negotiate for the release of hostages, I think you said,
Yeah.
that's admirable.
Oh yeah.
Admirable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For those that are listening, he didn't do this just one time.
Mhm.
He boarded planes to free American hostages around the world in combat zones and in places that were hostile to Americans and hostile to America throughout, his life. We're talking about 1984. He got Lieutenant Robert Goodman, who was shot down, whose plane was shot down over Lebanon, got him free from Syria. 1984, visited Havana, Cuba, to negotiate with Fidel Castro for the release of 22 American prisoners. This man was a G. Iraq, 1990, prior to the Gulf War, he secured the release of hundreds of foreign nationals and about 100 Americans who were being held by Saddam Hussein. And put some respect on Jesse Jackson's name. 1999, during the NATO bombing, Jackson met with Slobodan Milosevic to secure the release of 3 U.S. soldiers, Staff Sergeant Andrew Ramirez, I remember that name, Staff Sergeant Christopher Stone, and Specialist Steven Gonzalez. In Serbia and Yugoslavia, he went in 1999 and got those soldiers freed from his own negotiations. He wasn't sent by America to do that. This man was just brave to go and do that for these American soldiers. Liberia, 2000, in Liberia, helped negotiate the release of 4 journalists that were being held in Liberia. This man, he didn't show any fear. I'll say that. And I think we definitely got to put some respect on his resume when it comes to going into foreign and hostile territory and negotiating the freedom of American soldiers and journalists. Incredible.
Okay. Are you reading the comments? So Mama Ani says all of the places that were elite leaders created by the U.S. So I don't know. Is that resistance to Jesse Jackson being able to go there? Do you think it was easier because they were places created by the U.S.? Let me know your thoughts, Mama Ani.
Yeah.
Dre, you think you're gonna get some pushback for saying put some respect on his name?
Of course, like I said, people have their heels dug in because it became like a show to see who can say the most, foul and degenerate things about Jesse Jackson, and it's a big show now, and people are just saying crazy stuff just because. And I mean, Serbia, Yugoslavia, Iraq, Cuba, Syria, those are places that America did not create. Syria, America didn't create Syria. America didn't create Cuba, nor Iraq, nor Serbia, nor Yugoslavia. Unless you're talking about the breakdown of the USSR, which was essentially the Russian United States, the Russian version of the United States. When those countries essentially became their own independent nations. But yeah, I mean, that's a brave man. It's a brave man. Shout out to that brother.
That's that church upbringing in you. That's the church speaking through you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And Mama Ani says, I'm not saying to disrespect this man. That's not it. But I think we should let it be what it is. Yes, he transitioned and the work he did was great. He got one thing wrong in my eyes. Oh, the leaders that he referred to. Okay, she's not talking about the places. She's talking about the leaders that were referred to. I think he got that one thing wrong, and like you said, that marred the rest of it. You said the family still sticks and mourns Reverend Jesse Jackson, even though there's rumors of how he could have um, sort of had a hand or kind of sabotage or kind of over inflated, is that a word? Inflated his role in helping after Dr. King was alive. Is that what we're saying, Dred?
Say again.
What were the rumors surrounding Jesse Jackson and Dr. King's passing?
That he somehow arranged and arranged it, or that he wasn't wearing a necktie or something like that, and that the good guys, and this is all just stuff that what's his name, Hosea Williams said or whatnot. The good guys. Now, how do that the good guys would not be wearing ties, and the bad guys, the ones who are under target, would be wearing ties? Now, Hosea, how do you know that? Hosea Williams, how did you get that information? You know what I'm saying? With I find some of these rumors, when you kind of take a step back and look at them, they're saying that Jesse Jackson didn't have a tie on, so he was walking around. I think he's walking around. He went downstairs without his tie on. He's talking to Dr. King, and Dr. King was up on the balcony or whatnot, and they were talking to each other. One was in the parking lot, one was up on the balcony, getting ready to come down stairs, and Dr. King was wearing a tie and Jesse wasn't, and so that means that Jesse was marking Dr. King because he had on a tie and Jesse didn't have on a tie, which is that's a stretch. I mean, you got to think about how ridiculous that stretch is. You reaching to astronomical lengths to try to tie him into the assassination of Dr. King. That's so that's one thing that they said. And like I said, it's rumors, and and there is no evidence to support it. The King files, where they followed Dr. King, have been released in public and essentially made public. There's no reference of Jesse Jackson working with the FBI or the CIA to follow Dr. King and report on Dr. King. However, like I said, it's something about negative news or negative rumors and things like that people love to share. People love to believe, oh, I believe it. Oh, I believe it. It doesn't matter what your entire body of work is, or what your, some people just want to believe something negative about a positive person, if that makes sense. BX, with all the good things that you do, if somebody comes out and says something negative, people are just, there's a certain type of person that is, drooling at the opportunity to listen to, negative things about BX, regardless of, all the work that you do, and then the positivity, how you share information, how you educate a lot of people on New York history and culture. There are some people that are just looking for that, and that happened to Jesse Jackson in a worse way. Oh yeah, I believe it. Well, we love to believe some bullshit. Something about us, I don't know. We got to get that out of our culture.
I'm very happy that you found my space safe enough to talk about Jesse Jackson and the good things that he did do for the community, and the last time that he really spoke on reparations. And so I'm happy that I was a true safe space today. I'm not going to disparage Jesse Jackson. I do want us to know that we still have work to do. I don't think that him and Al Sharpton both. I don't think Black American leaders after, I'm going to say the Black Panther Party, and even they got, infiltrated trying to do what was right for us. I'm not going to say they sold out, no. But I think at some point in time, Jesse Jackson lost the plot. You see the Rainbow Coalition, that was against us, right? But the going international, his fight for presidency, right? They did threaten his life numerous times. So he got some stripes, right? Some battle scars too. And so may he forever rest in peace with the ancestors. Because at the end of the day, we don't get to judge that man. He probably already was judged, and that ain't my decision to decide. All this other stuff, all the disparaging stuff, that's on them other people. That ain't on me. I'm a spiritualist, so I ain't going to disparage him. I'm going to acknowledge him for being a man of conviction, a man who thought that he was doing the right thing during certain times. But that one thing, I'm staying 10 toes down on. That was the wrong idea. But other than that, I don't have no problem with him. He just didn't really speak for the masses. He spoke for a certain demographic of Black Americans, but we're 50 million strong, probably more than that. It's not, one leader can't get it right for all of us. So that's what I'm going to say. Because if I keep rambling, I might say something offensive, not meaning to. So stop me, Dread. Damn, stop me.
No, you're good. You're doing good. You're absolutely right. It's fair to be honest and take a step back and say, where was the advocacy for specifically Black people, at a certain point, in his, career as an activist, you know what I mean? But yeah, I know that he did, frequent marches for nonviolence, or ending, gang violence and street violence, in the inner cities across the nation. I know that he would, walk, arm in arm with people from the community of Chicago, and speaking out against violence in the community and things like that. So, he was still active. I think it just takes a little digging. We'll see what else he was working on.
I'm gonna tell you this, that line that I read, and I may not know it verbatim, when he said he was working for all races, not just one. It made him make sense to me. Because I was just looking at him as a boule, maybe, I don't know how to explain it. Maybe some type of Pan-African thing going on there. But I didn't know he was fighting for all the races, that would include the poor white tea people. So it put a lot of him into perspective for me. Right now, we don't have no leader. The code is the leader. But we're past the point of Pan-Africanism, blackness. Al Sharpton does not speak for us. NAACP, and I still do my letter writings, and I send it to certain politicians, and I tell them, listen, the NAACP doesn't speak for all Black Americans. Tamika Mallory doesn't speak for all Black Americans. My son doesn't speak. I literally write this stuff to them because they got to understand this is a new day and age. We are the real grassroots, right? So you got to tap in with us, or you ain't talking to the right people. And the people I mentioned aren't the right people or organizations. And I have been up for a few hours. I think that this was a very good live, and I thank you, Dred, and Ronnie Mack, and everybody who joined to give us the Inventor, and everybody who participated in the chat, and of course Big Stepper, who came up to tell me New York is on alert. I want to shout out the great ancestor. I want to say all divine honors to the great ancestor, Mary Ellen Pleasant. And I'm going to say this again. My third great grandmother from Alabama is a Pleasant. So it was a no-brainer. And when I see hoodoo and stuff, and I think about my grandmother, she was definitely a seer. Definitely. As far as outright hoodoo, I didn't really see it, but I can look back and say, oh, that's why she did that. But we do practice hoodoo in our everyday lives. Some of us call it superstition. Some of us don't really know what to call it. We just know it's our tradition and customs. Hoodoo is to be gatekept, right? It is a closed practice. So Africans, Caribbeans, Afro-Latinos, if they don't have no foundational Black American that ties to U.S. chattel slavery, they should not be learning anything about hoodoo. I don't know everything, but I do learn. And sometimes I learn as y'all are learning, and sometimes y'all are my teachers. And I value all participation and insight. So going back to Mary Ellen Pleasant, she was an entrepreneur, a caterer, a real estate magnate, an abolitionist who actually funded the Underground Railroad, right? She was a hoodoo practitioner and a philanthropist. So she paid the cost to be the boss, and she did it well. Now, that's not a real image of her. I don't think I saw a real image of her, but I can just imagine that that image embodies Mary Ellen Pleasant. They didn't know that she was, had the regular amalgamation that, well, let me not say regular, the amalgamation that we all have. And based on my family history and connecting with other Pleasants. I used to be on Facebook, and there was a group called Operation Pleasant. Are we all related? They always talked about the Pleasants having high concentrations of Europeans. Some, not all. And some even had a connection to the Henrietta Lacks. So what they would say when you first get in the group, are you a Lax? Do you have a connection to the Lax? I have not found one. That's not my story, but I am a Pleasant, and so all divine honors to the Pleasant ancestors, and may Henrietta Lacks forever rest in peace. I got to tell you this may sound a little crazy, but I think there are more Henrietta Laxes out there. From our lineage, of course. I ain't talking about no Indian Henrietta Lacks. But she has family. Some things are genetic. I was telling people yesterday that laying hands is a real thing. Laying hands meaning you could heal with your hands, kind of ease certain conditions and stuff like that. So some of that runs in my family, right? And Dred knows I'm a little spiritual, a little psychic sometimes. My intuition is A1. And they say Pisces are like the most, I think, psychic of the zodiacs, but I'm willing to put Aquarians up there on the map. What you say, Dred?
Well, I'm gonna put you up on the map. We can't put all Aquarians up there. Now, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put you up there for sure.
Oh, and I probably get it from my Pleasant side, which is still my grandma's side, because she was the seer in the family. Well, the known seer. Because I ain't talked to all my cousins about a lot of things. The family on that side was heavily Christian, or it was like two dynamics. They were heavily Christian or 5%ers. That's my mama's side, my biological mama's side. And that's why I always give a shout out to my older cousins. The things that they taught me as them being 5%ers. A lot of people say, BX, I like the way you move. I got to give a shout out to my older cousins for that. And they do represent 5%ers. That's why I look on this app and somebody tell me they 5%. I'm like, really? They don't act like that. But yeah. So shout out to the ancestors. Shout out to my big cousins. And I'm willing to put the Aquarians on the map for being psychic, but I'm going to wait till the end of the year. I'm going to see how my new business venture takes off. Any final words, Dred?
Yeah, you know what? Great space, great conversation. I always have a good time. Come over to the
Talk a little
echo
louder.
chamber. Oh, I was saying, great conversation. I always have a good time when I come to the echo chamber. Yeah. So one last thing, I want to say, this is the last day of Black History Month, but we will continue to make history, and we will continue to educate year round. And because I know that we always end up on panels where people are disrespecting our history and disrespecting our culture and things like that. So they'll say things like, Jamaica's created hip hop and things like that. And that's an opportunity. So we are always finding opportunities to educate people on our history. When people, get on here and say that, our people have not created anything. We did not build America. America was built by immigrants. That's an opportunity for us to mobilize and educate people on the history of Black America. You know what I'm saying? So we will continue to educate the masses on a Black American history and continue to be great. Spread love. Spread love.
I got an announcement though. Residential tethers. We can't educate them. You ever wonder why? Remember C-band? I think Wade is the male C-band. I think we talked about this before. That's what you call residential tethers. Now, let's take Mo. The troll Mo. He's a repeat offender or maybe a return offender. He come in, everybody, they go back and forth with him, they drop him. He's not just there sitting around taking in every lesson that we're giving out. Like, that's okay with the tethers. Get them in, you have your debate, and you out debate them, boom, they're gone. But sitting around while we discussing, and we don't really discuss too much strategy, but we do strategize. Does that make sense? Telling them what level of history we up to, learning with each other. Like, all of that is weird. And see, Ben used to do that too until she got ran off the app and then came back and tried to act like she's different, but I don't think so. Oh, do you have your, hold on, Black American House just entered the chat. Do you have your inventor for today, sir? Put him all on the spot. Rich rising. No, because some things, it irks me. Like, why you never, are you just coming in to support? No problem. Like, why you never around your people? Then I'm hearing that you lied on a few foundational Black American women. Then I'm hearing you was in, he just gets cop. Like, it just gets cop. And I don't want to educate the cops. Or he gives news carrier. Oh, yeah, you know what the FBA is saying over there? I'm not sure if they're a group, but I know this is what they're focusing on, y'all. Like, we just can't take nothing for granted at this time. That's just all. It's just really weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
And being is that he resided in New York, Brooklyn, of all places. Think of Yvette Clarke. She resided in Brooklyn. Look at how she is, right? But I bet you there's a few Black Americans who would have swore she was their ride or die.
Yeah, that's a great point. Great point. Yeah. I mean, but we still have to. We have to use. We have to use our intuition, so to speak. We have to make sure that we are in a place or a panel where we should share our history. There are sometimes, like some of these people that are overseas, so to speak. Like, why you in our business anyways? The British, the Windrush descendants that are over there and worried about Black Americans all day long and spreading misinformation. Sometimes, you got to just let that be water off a duck's back, you know what I mean? And just go on about your business and save your energy. But
they get on my nerves. It makes me want to activate the European ancestry and go over there and put them out. But then you hear my son laughing. Oh God, he got this booming voice. He don't think, but he's all the way upstairs. Listen, did we touch on Pan African versus Pan Americanism? Which one is the code?
I didn't get to talk about that, but I was just looking at that too. But which one is more so cult like? I would say they're both equally cult like. I'll tell you why. Because for one, when you talk about cult like behavior, there is no pushback on misinformation, and there's no pushback on harmful or potentially dangerous information that could, cause people harm physically as well. Also, you look at it where they essentially treat their ideologies like a religion that they practice. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely see that Pan-Africanism is a religion. And Pan-Americanism is, kind of, a cult-like in a sense, because if you ever listen to some of the Pan-American lives, they get up there and say all kinds of, wrong information and crazy stuff that makes absolutely no sense. We're talking about people who believe that cars were, being driven here in America in the 1200s and that the Europeans came over here and made the machines rust and fall apart, disintegrate, or they flew balloons back and forth from Europe to America. So you hear things like this, and I'm not making this up. These are all things that I've heard on some of the Pan American lives, and nobody unmutes their mic to push back. There's always an excuse, you know what I'm saying? Or there's always somebody saying amen and nodding along. Yep. And then they'll add more and more, and just it just becomes a room filled with misinformation, lies, and nonsense. So when you have ideologies like that and nobody can push back, if you push back, you'll be excommunicated. You'll be treated like you're doing
I
something wrong
know.
when you say, "Hey, no, people weren't flying blimps back and forth from Europe to America in the year 800, in the year 900." You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you can't push back because you'll be excommunicated tells me that's kind of cult-like behavior. And it's
Well, they
bullying.
wanted to get rid of me because I was standing 10 toes down on we not getting rid of black. I think I woke up and they said get rid of BX from all FBA spaces. Meanwhile, the chick is a whole American Indian bi-ethnic type of thing going. I was so
Yeah.
confused. But Vamp entered the room. I hope
What's
he's
up,
still
Vamp?
here. I want to give a shout out to Vamp because he on TikTok is the true creator of an FBA safe space. And this was around the time I first started falling out with Dr. No Job, and Vamp hosted his first live. And it was an FBA safe space where we didn't have to worry about tethers. We didn't have no residential tethers over there. They come in, they get roasted, they get dropped and laughed at. Ha ha. Wasn't no, don't get on them today. Don't get on them too hard, y'all. Don't get on. There was none of that, you know.
True. I
So
do
shout out to
remember the
Vamp.
beginning of the FBA safe spaces, man. Shout out to Vamp.
Yes, and Vamp is a new daddy. If you didn't know, he had his oldest son, Junior, just had a birthday. Junior turned 1, and then he just had his precious daughter. Mm-hmm.
Man, congrats, man. That's amazing. Did not
Yeah.
was it another
Yeah.
Aquarius?
So I have a house full.
Was the baby another Aquarius?
Oh, I don't
Like what
think
do
she did Aquarius at all.
what are y'all
Are
up
they
to? I'm
Aquarius?
just
Junior is
I'm
an Aquarius. Yeah, I don't want to say the date, but Junior should be an Aquarius. I don't know
you
if
see,
if baby girl
y'all
is
ain't
an
slick.
Aquarius. Vamp, are you still here? Uh-huh. Go ahead.
Y'all ain't
I keep
slick. Y'all
cutting you
trying
off.
to take over the world, and I just want you to know that I'm on to y'all. I'm on to you, the Aquarius Avengers. Y'all think y'all taking over?
Hey, let me tell you something. Not all Aquarians get along now, I got to tell you. Good morning, Dynasty. So, there are some Aquarians I've noticed that are kind of ass kissers, right? And it's none of them on TikTok. You know, I found them somewhere else. And I'm just amazed. And I'm just like amazed and horrified. And I just can't be around them. I understand having friends and hyping them up, but it just was really weird to my eye, especially since I know us and that sign, we could get along beautifully. And I ain't going to say the sign because somebody here on TikTok is that sign, and I don't want them to think I'm absolutely throwing shade at them. I'm just saying that we're good until we clash, and then it's a whole battle. So to see some Aquarians kind of kissing ass, I was like, really? So not all Aquarians get along. I think January Aquarians are one of the best Aquarians they are. You know?
Yeah, you might be onto something. You might be onto something.
But Halo's a February Aquarius, so, you know, I think I just love Halo. So I think
Hey,
Aquarians are
Auntie.
just exceptional. Hey,
How you
how are
doing,
you?
Auntie? It's 10:53 West Coast time, so I know it's what 1:53 New
Yes,
York time.
yes.
Yeah, Auntie, man,
What
you,
happened?
you, yeah, you got to get on that dude, talented Tyke. You got to get on his bumper, Auntie.
What
He said
happened?
he's living out there in New Jersey, but he said he a Bronx native, right?
Hmm.
And the dude held the space last night. I'd say about 90 to maybe 100 people in the space. You know, it varies. The brother, and the reason why people start coming into space is the crazy story the dude was telling us. You understand? He, the man up. As a matter of fact, before I go into the story, I want to ask you, New York, because you know New York laws and consent. What is the age of consent in New York?
Well, we could look it up right now. I got my trusty
Okay.
computer.
Okay.
Just so because I want to say 17,
That's what I
but
think.
I don't know. It could be 16. You know, New York
Okay.
is a little weird. So the age of consent, right?
Yes.
It's 17. What is the
Oh,
legal age of consent in New York? In the state of New York, the age of consent for sexual activity is 17. As such, anyone under the legal age of consent is legally incapable of providing consent to sexual relations. And this is from the law offices of Jeffrey Lichtman. And he
okay.
is a statutory great lawyer, so he handles those
Okay.
things.
Now listen to this.
Uh-huh.
All right. The dude said that the dude type. He said that he was messing around with the mother. Right. He was messing around with the mother. Right. And the daughter was about 3 to 4 months away from 17. So he was involved with the daughter, but he thought the daughter was a little bit older than her age, right? He thought the daughter was like probably like 21 or 22, right? He asked the mom how old she was, and the mom told him how old she was. She's 16, going on 17, right? But the daughter said that the mom, I guess the daughter and the mom be competing for men, and you know what I'm saying. And the daughter like telling him that my mom just be telling me I'm younger than what I really am because she think that I be trying to like snatch her men or whatever, right? But lo and behold, the daughter was 16, about like you say about 3, 4, 5 months away from turning 17, and he was trying to justify why he was in. Now he start pounding the daughter now. He trying to justify that shit, and people was passing him out in the comments saying, "Bro, come on, man. You out of pocket for that. If the mama told you her actual age, and the daughter told you, my mama just be, hate, jealous of me because it's like she think I be taking her dudes, her guys away from her. Some type of competition between the mama and the daughter, right?
That's
But since you
crazy.
just told me that the legal consent is 17, so
Yeah.
is he still out of pocket because she was 16 going on 17?
Yeah, he's still out of pocket. The Lord just said it. The Lord said it. Anyone under 17. She would, now, maybe if it was 12 a.m. on her birthday, but even then, that's still nasty depending on what age he is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, morally, damn
Morally,
well,
he's wrong.
like Auntie, if I am involved with the mother, and just say even if the daughter is grown, right? Morally, I have enough wit and enough game and enough, on how to deal with grown women. Out of respect, why am I trying to court the daughter? I don't give a damn if the daughter 21 or 24 years old. My interest wasn't into the daughter. I met the daughter when I hooked up with the mom. I met her daughter, and I don't give a damn if she's of the legal age or not the legal age. I'm hands off because you know what I'm saying. Basically, how I was. I don't get down with no shit like that, Auntie. I don't mess around. I'm morally and ethically. I'm not gonna disrespect myself nor the person that I'm dating or involved with on no
Right.
shit like that. And
Right.
then I'm not hard up for no smecks like that. Where to the
Right.
point where I'm laying up with the mom and the daughter walking around. And I got eyes for the daughter. That is some weirdo activity to me. And this man up here on that space last night justifying that shit late night and just saying, man, it was a situation that happened. I didn't know if I had to believe the mom or if the daughter, it was like
That's
they
a
was in
cop
town.
out.
Was that a
That's a cop
non-FBA
Man, come
out.
on,
person?
man.
That's not
Hop
that's not
out.
an FBA mindset. So it's probably a non-FBA person. Was it a
The
YC
dude,
person?
I told Auntie, look, bro. I told Auntie, I said, dude said, and that was the same dude that said that it was okay for the Latinos and the Jamaicans to call Black Americans the N word because they was raised and grew up in the projects and the Black communities with it. So,
Yeah, that's not Black
and the
American.
police when they come to the neighborhood, they see everybody as N words, no matter if they Latino or a different ethnicity or Black American. They all Like dudes come with all these weird ass justifications for wrong shit. Shit that
Can
he
I give you
know.
some advice?
Yeah. Yep.
You got your answer right. He's still wrong. She wasn't 17. He sounds like a weirdo all around. If you want to go bang on him one more time and then just block him afterwards. Why keep
No,
feeding
no, no,
into his
no, no. This
platform?
was his. This was his space. Like.
That's what I'm saying. Why even go into his face after you bang on him
Following
one more
around
time?
one of the brothers into the space because the topic of discussion at first when we first went there was about Eminem he'd be like a top five great rapper or something like
No,
that.
I'm not saying why you was on his platform. I'm
Yeah.
saying what you do now that
Just
you know the
proactively.
age
Oh no,
of
no, no!
consent.
I want to give him the blues. I
Right.
want to spaz out on him. But you say until you say, you know what? Let weirdo niggas be. Ain't
No,
no
no,
need for
no.
you
I
to
didn't
debate
say
with him.
that. I said
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
after you bang on him one more time, then
yeah.
leave him alone. Because he's
Gotcha.
wrong.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
at
I
this
got you.
point, he got to show me proof if I ever went over there, which I doubt, because he's just weirdo. He's a weirdo.
Mm-hmm.
That he's really from the Bronx. I got to tell you, Dynasty. I think a lot of people, especially from the North, will say they from New York and don't even be from New York. I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that be going
Mm-hmm.
on too, because you
Yeah.
start questioning them and they don't know certain things that they should. A New Yorker gonna pick up like this.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
You
don't
right
know if
about that.
he's really from the Bronx. The Tethers latch on to the Bronx. You see
Right.
how Cardi is? I was born in the birthplace of hip hop. See how Fat Joe is? They
Mm-hmm.
always latch on because this is considered, minus the elements, right? This is considered where hip hop was birthed in the manner that we know it with the five elements and stuff. So they feel like living here is some type of, gives them social standings, gives them credibility to
Mm-hmm.
be in our culture or speak on our culture.
Right.
Unfortunately for us, there's not too many remember Big Pun said, shout out to my African American brothers. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to. We don't have too many
Yeah.
of them running around now. We have all them other motherfuckers like Tyke and Cardi and all these
Yeah.
Fat Joes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, what I'm saying is he was wrong. She was
Mm.
not 17. And then and let me tell you something. If even though she was a teen, even if what her mother said was true, would you want him around a younger child?
Mm.
Cause that's
Mm.
where how could you sleep with your woman's daughter?
Whew. We. Man. I mean, is these dudes is that hard up for sexual access? I mean, like, damn, man, it's like you can't even enjoy the grown woman that you got in front of you. That you got eyes for something younger and under the limit that you know that is morally, effed up, and you know that. Come on, man. It just ain't no way around it. Ain't no way to explain it, man. You know you foul, bro. You up there trying to justify this shit. And people in the comments and on these panels was like saying, come on, bro. You know you out of pocket, bro. And you have an issue you got to address. You understand what I'm saying? But he
So
kept
now you
saying,
got to look
she
at the
was
ones
only
that
four or
agree
5 months
with
from
him.
17. She was only 4 or
That
5
don't
months.
matter.
That's crazy.
So what I'm going to tell you is you got to look at the ones who agree with him. Why they agreeing with him? Like I wouldn't even be around him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
I
was like,
think
"Oh man, you don't know
ultimately,
this. You don't know the law. You don't. Like, man, a lot of y'all don't know.
yeah.
Y'all just in the comments trolling. Y'all don't know the law, man.
I
It
think
might be
ultimately
different in your state,
ultimately,
because
when it comes to stuff like that, man, I feel like sometimes people get on here and gaslight and just be making shit up just for entertainment. Like
mm,
you don't even know if that any of
for
that shit is
content, for
true.
content.
Yeah, just for content, man. That's
Well,
Yeah,
then you
real.
know what? He should get his
but
ass
that ain't
whooped
even
then,
cool to play
just
like
for
that, bro. I don't.
content.
I wouldn't even if I had to go that low of troll. I wouldn't even play like that. Not on no sister issue like that. Hell no. People can lose their life behind you messing around with they folks like that, man. That's not. Mm-mm. I don't even.
Not
Nah, that's
only
not.
that, there could be a sick mind in the chat thinking that the nigga for real and that he well nobody giving him pushback. I guess it's okay. Like we gotta be mindful. These are public
Mm.
platforms. You got all types of mindsets on them.
Yeah.
The age of consent is 17. And so he was wrong. If it's true, he was wrong.
These people crazy though,
And that
auntie.
might be why his ass is in Jersey. Like, unless New Yorkers will move to Jersey if they're rich. Like, I guess it's something with the taxes or more space. Like, Little Kim moved to Jersey. Some other people moved to Jersey.
Yeah.
When people start moving to Jersey from New York, if it's not
Hmm.
for work, or Boston, I start thinking that they got ran off the block or some shit.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
you gotta really start looking at niggas like, why you living where you living, but you from this state? You got ran off the
Mm.
block.
Hmm.
Don't act like niggas ain't get ran off a block,
Yeah.
Dynasty.
Oh yeah.
And he's saying some weirdo shit already.
Yeah. That's
Now
yeah.
I
That's
ain't the
wild.
toughest street
Wild.
bitch or whatever, but I'm pretty smart.
Yes, ma'am.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, and then I can't rule out what Dre said too. Like, you got people will say and do anything for some content or to get their rooms popping. They'll say some outlandish
Mm,
shit that ain't really true. But why would you even use that as content? That's a sensitive issue, and that's an issue that's real, and that people out there are really getting unalive for and going to jail, getting incarcerated for. We don't play like that with our
You
youth.
know, he
We
get a
don't.
lot on his fisticuffs. To men who are thinking about, and even women, if y'all are thinking about making content, uh,
Yeah.
don't make weirdo content lying
Yes,
about
ma'am.
it. You know what people respect, and I don't mean be violent, right?
Yeah.
Fighting, defending yourself. Now, how he come in? Yo, somebody kicked my door in. I was living in the Bronx. You know, they kicked my door in, and I held it down for my family. My little sister was asleep. Now, that's a good story. But
Yeah.
you coming in like, oh, I had this girl, and her daughter was almost 17, almost the age of consent. You weirdo motherfucker. Was you touching her before she even made
Mm.
4 months to 17? Y'all see how it works? You could tell a story all you want. Rapping is about telling stories. Some are real
Yeah.
life instances, some are about stories, but it's the story you tell that's going to follow you all the days of your life. I'd rather be known as a fighter than a PDF file.
You damn right. That's great. That is bananas. But yeah, I just had to come up here and share that with you. That was a outlandish ass story with that dude, man. And yeah, that's just unacceptable. But
I'm
yeah,
just
auntie,
going to have to
hey,
go
auntie,
block the page. I'm going to just
auntie,
block his
I gotta
page. I
go
don't
in.
even want to see him.
Yeah, that's real, auntie. I gotta go. It's weekend, man. I gotta go in here
Yeah,
and make me some money for the weekend.
no
They
problem.
ain't gonna. I might try to go live while I'm at work, but they ain't letting me get off till 12.
I'll come peeking in and
Y'all
cut
might be
up for a
asleep
little
then
while
by
with
the time
y'all.
I get off.
No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. All right, auntie. Salute, salute, Dre. Salute y'all. Peace.
Salute.
Be one.
B1.
peace. Peace out.
Yep. Rich
Yeah.
Rising, Chris. Rich Rising, little brother.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm about to
that was
get
wild.
up off here. I need to eat something. I need to go to the gym. All that. A
Ah,
lot needs to take place in a very short amount of time.
yeah.
So dig this, dig this.
Mhm.
I wanted to point something out. I've heard the pushback against Reverend Jackson about having um the push coalition, Rainbow Push Coalition or whatnot. But he still, even though he had uh essentially an organization that supported um underserved groups of different races, he also still did push for black priorities, social and economic priorities. So I just wanted to point that out, that just because he was doing, work on behalf of other communities, or his organization worked on behalf of other communities, doesn't mean that they neglected the black community, if that makes sense. So it's like, walking and chewing gum at the same time. Um,
Wait. You really want to get out of here after saying that? Let me just say this. If
mhm.
it was flat blackness, black people type thing, then we still were so, you see, I don't think there's any trickle down effect if you're in certain communities. Maybe our predominantly black communities, but in diverse cities, I'm not seeing no trickle down effect, but I'm seeing a whole lot of people tethered on to our, I don't even have to bring up reparations, our civil rights. They get everything repaired and it don't have to be called reparations. They get things set aside specifically for him, even with his advocacy for black people. If it was flat, blackness was still harmful. And I'm trying not to disparage the man. I already gave him the pass. He did some marvelous things. He only got one wrong. Flat blackness has harmed us. Him and Al Sharpton have operated off of flat blackness to the point where we're saying we're being harmed, and Al Sharpton, right, is still on Zoom calls. We're African nations.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah. No,
still
I get what you're
harmful to
saying.
us.
I definitely get what you're saying. You're saying that his advocacy on behalf of the black community included black immigrants as well, and
And
that's
that
where
was
it was
harmful.
it was harmful.
It's still harmful to us because there's no trickle down effect for us. If white teen women is getting DEI the most, right? Because that, and then Latinas and so on and so forth. When they get to the 3% of black people, what black people was getting it? In New York, a lot of, well, I'm gonna speak for me. I'm locked out of certain positions because it's a Spanish speaking only. Sometimes you got to get the hookup. I'm like at a disadvantage here. And some jobs I'm just overqualified for.
Yeah.
So I think that, and then we got Spanish people giving us pushback, right? Saying, well, if you don't speak Spanish, you aren't qualified anyway. Well, go to your country where it's predominantly Spanish speaking. What are we talking about here? Buy one translator for one department, hire one translator for one department and give us our call centers back. Because I had to help my son on the call. He damn near threw his headphones at me because he couldn't understand the lady's language because she's not a native English speaker. Her English was very broken. He didn't understand that, and he's a New York baby. It's ridiculous the way that we're locked out. And here's a recommended reading for everybody. They have it on audiobook. Back of the Hiring Line by Roy Beck. So you can see this is all by design. But my thing is, these politicians are well aware of how they subjugate us and how they are used. They've become willing tools of white supremacy. But one thing I know, white supremacy always break their tools, right? That's why we speculate Puffy is going through what he's going through. He made somebody mad. Why Kanye went through. You know what I'm saying? They always break Bill Cosby, everybody. They break their tools. I'm not saying Bill Cosby was a tool, but he was kind of different, But Jay-Z now with this Epstein thing, I ain't really looking into it. I'm just over Hollywood. I remember Malcolm X saying, what other community has celebrities as their leaders? So that's where I'm at with it. But as far as Jesse Jackson, he did do some beautiful things. But the fact remains, flat blackness has harmed us too, especially in New York. There's no set-asides for us. And those people who can identify as Caribbean, Haitian, or any African nation, and even some Afro-Latinos, are put in positions that Black Americans who have been subjugated the longest, the hardest, and the strongest on this here land are still left dwindling. But because they're in the black category, conveniently stepping in and out of it, the government feels that, okay, we feel, or the entity, whoever's hiring, whoever's giving money or funding for community efforts, are saying, okay, well, everybody black, they got what they needed. We fulfilled our quota. Meanwhile, it's not even our demographic. So that's all I'm saying, Dread. You saying he's still advocating for black people, but Al Sharpton's on the phone with Africa, and there's so many grants and non-profits these people have. They're funding each other, then they're in the office locking us out. I think they gotta know by now that flat blackness harms us.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I get exactly what you're saying. You're saying that, just because you are, supporting so-called black initiatives, it doesn't mean that it's going specifically to Black Americans. I got what you're saying. but yeah,
specifically the U.S. descendants of
yeah,
freedmen. That I gotta say that then, because everybody else
yeah.
thinks they Black American
That's
now for
true.
some reason.
Yeah.
Hi, make it make sense. But before you cut out, I just want to show everybody. If you see, that's my Oracle deck. I created it. I created 2 decks, and I have the second deck still available. You can inbox me if you're into spirituality like that, where you read cards, Oracle cards, stuff like that. I do have that inbox to order. I'm also an independent journalist. I do accept donations, so there's my cash app. I'm going to promote myself, and I'm going to tell you why, unashamed, unabashedly. I was scrolling one day, and guess what I seen? A bunch of white tea people, white tea women. And you know what the white women were saying? Wherever you go, drop your cash app. And nobody gave her hell. Nobody came up there and said, don't you drop your cash app. So I'm independent. I got my cash app right there. Y'all don't have to give that. I love the gifts. I love the gifts. But I'm just putting it out there. Things that we're ashamed about, other ethnic groups and races is telling their people, specifically their women who are business owners, drop your cash app wherever you go. So that's just my word of the wise for today. Make it make sense. Go ahead, make it make sense.
Hey, BX. Hi, everybody on the
Hey.
stage. Um, I was gonna say I don't want to get too far from the topic because I'm on break. My niece is in competition in Taekwondo, so I got a break to myself.
Uh,
Thank God. Whew.
okay.
So I was gonna say these people know what they're doing because they've been predicting to us for a while that our income is going to be zero by 2050. They're putting these people in place for a reason. They know that was the only way they can subjugate us again. So this is I don't let these higher beings off the hook for this crap. They know what they're doing, and I just feel like this. I think they showed their hand. They showed how weak the American established can be against their own indigenous people. They're so entrenched in subjugating us. They allow everybody to come in and not knowing that, not realizing, because they think, oh, we can throw them a couple of dollars. We can make these people, all these third worlders we bringing in, they're going to be great. They're going to in line with us. But I think they underestimated these type of folks. And I know they did because these people showed you their flags. They're not trying to assimilate. They've been doing this for years. All these people they pushed up in our neighborhoods and our communities on top of us and stuff. They don't want to change. So why would an outside entity not be able to destroy us from within? Because they know that's our government weakness is racism against the black indigenous. That's our weak spot for us. That's how they can't come at us any other way. So all these YT folks think they're doing damage to us, but actually they're doing damage to the US. Period. And they think they're gonna get away with this. I got a lot of issues with that. And these people, like I said, these people been saying this. That's why they're so bold coming over. These melanated immigrants coming on here boldly telling us that these YT folks chose them over us. And I believe they told them that. I believe that. I believe that to the fullest. So I just land my plane there. But what was the topic
Thank
about
you.
too?
The topics are USA versus Iran, WAR. You know, we're in the WAR with Iran. The is
Oh
not
Lord.
people are on our side, but New York is on alert as a possible retaliation point. Like if Iran wants to do something, and they're mentioning, right? It hasn't not been one announced yet, but they're just saying New York be on alert. More than likely, they may have some sleepers here, right? Also, the midterm predictions, or is the couch an option? I say it's not. Dread, I believe, said it's not. And then Pan African verse Pan Americanism, which one is cult like? But I was scrolling and I see that the Caribbean and our American Indians may be having some issues. And so that, I took a lot of hits before Twitter started migrating here because there are some American Indian who want us to remove the word black. I'm all for African American being removed, but now you gotta, I'm gonna use your name there, you gotta make it make sense to me to remove black. Um, and so I would take a lot of hits from the American Indian. However, they would just say, "Well, you're if you identify as such and such, then guess what? You're just African, or you're allowing the Africans to tether on." But they were sitting there being Pan Americans with the Caribbean and
Thank
the
you.
Latinos.
I didn't
Hmm.
understand that. That is so confusing to me.
Right.
That was no different. That Pan American
Good
stuff,
morning, Bronx Zoo. Hmm.
the
Go
Pan
ahead.
American stuff was no different from the Pan African stuff. I was so confused, and everybody knows those people are more in the Caribbeans are more in line with the Africans descent than us.
Yeah.
We ain't even
True.
got it like that.
Hmm.
I was just confused behind that. I didn't understand the argument, but who am I?
Well, yeah,
I
well,
don't.
it might be unraveling, at least on this app. But I always found it weird to see a known Haitian flying around with the Haitian flag talking about she was American. And I was just looking like, I'm going to bypass this room today. BX, don't do it to yourself. Or if I was in the room, you know what? This ain't my cup of tea. Then I realized it wasn't a safe space for me, even though I thought it was a safe space for me. When they let somebody come at me and just didn't even say, okay, let's get back to the topic, I was like, okay. But she got back just as good as she gave me, because she wasn't going to just say anything to me. But who wants to go through that every day and then always mentioning my children? Because they're bi-ethnic. And I was just like, you know what? I removed a lot of American Indians and I stopped going in their spaces. That's why I'm just in FBA safe spaces. And they're not necessarily FBA. They don't like labels. So they're just like black, not just, they're black American and they identify as such. They just don't like certain conversations. They want to get to the topic, bang on some tethers, maybe laugh and crack a few jokes with each other. And those are the
Mhm.
rooms you're going to find me in. Because I really don't have to go through this. And neither do you, neither do Dred, neither do Big Stepper, neither do Brown. Just go in the chat there. None of us have to go through
No.
having to go at our lineage when we got real enemies in real life
Yeah.
in government systemically harming us. And some of those people are the ones you are knowingly saying we're part of an empire with. Like, come on. That don't make no sense to me.
Yeah. I don't understand it, and I'm kind of confused on. Don't we all celebrate Black History Month together? Ain't this part of our lineage? I the I didn't
Mhm.
understand. I didn't. Let me be quiet.
So what I do know is that when American Indians say who identify as American Indian, then use Black American synonymous, and I know they can find their ancestors on the 1870 issue, I don't have no problem with us sitting there celebrating Black history. But when I see the Caribbean talking about Black history ain't just for Black Americans, or the Haitians saying they only get a day and Black history month should be for them, when I see the Africans, because the African and the Latinos, the Afro Latinos, the Latino or Hispanic Heritage Month is September 15th to October 15th. Caribbean Heritage Month is the month of June. The Africans now made a push in
For
September,
September, yep,
and I
September.
believe they got it. So why they all know this is what I keep saying. They all have their respective caucuses, right? And conveniently, a Caribbean is the head of the CBC, our caucus. But our caucus states they fight for black people and marginalized groups. The issue with that is none of those marginalized groups are fighting for anything for black Americans. Their mission statements don't say black Americans. And
Yeah.
44 people on the caucus are immigrant background. We're not getting anything tangible. We're getting holidays, that's symbolic, that's performative. We're getting the Crown Act, but even Afro-Latinos can benefit for that. We have no specific set-asides for ourselves, but I want to tell you, make it make sense, and before I really log off, because I've been up a few hours, everybody, Yvette Clarke, the head of the CBC, is up for re-election. Y'all have to check because everybody is up for re-election, and we could get some of those caucus sitters, members, however you want to say it, out of these caucuses. We got to try to get some of these people out of their seats. We got to try to unseat people. So I think those who have an interest in email campaigns and political voter registration information drives, however you want to label it, we got to formulate some plans and try to get the word out there that this is where it counts. And if you are registered to vote, I believe you could vote by mail. So if you're thinking about sitting on the couch, you could probably sit on the couch and still vote by mail. Try it. Because right now we can't afford to let the caucuses stay the way they are. I understand who our main oppressor is, but we gotta attack. Let me see. Go after the help. They got help. We gotta get rid of their help.
True. I think too we need to start reminding our people too. I'm guilty of that too. We forget about the local elections, the and the boards and stuff that go on. We don't vote on that, and we need to start paying more attention to that versus just a presidential election. I think we've been so spelled on. I think we've been under a spell just to only vote during the presidential election, and we need to start pushing our people to make sure that we get out during the other elections for in our local areas too. So, and yet I'm just now seeing too about this attack. Um, I don't think this is gonna be nice. That's all I gotta say. I just wish we wouldn't have got involved. But what's going on? That affects me too. So the midterms, like I said, we just need to pay more attention to that. And I'll just land my plane on that. I just now seeing it. I'm just now seeing all this stuff that's going on because I've been not on my phone. But this is that really bothers me. What just happened though. So I'll leave it as that.
Oh, I think you make it make sense. Yeah. So I plan on coming back live tomorrow. It is the beginning of Women's Month. What would you call that? I don't know, Women's History Month. And Sister Keita says that we are going to focus on Black American women, but we're not going to leave out the men. So if we know power couples and stuff like that. So whenever I'm live, have your people ready, or the ancestor or the elder that you would like to highlight who has made history specifically for the month of March, Women's Month. And if she is married, or if there's a man with an extraordinary wife, think Malcolm X, Betty Shabazz, MLK, Coretta Scott King, so on and so forth. We could do that for Women's Heritage Month, because we need to talk about our history. Y'all teach me a lot, and I learn a lot, and I'm open to education because I'm an Aquarius, so sometimes I think I know it all. And I think one of my biggest growth points is realizing I don't know it all. And so I'm always open for the education, especially from my people.
You have a good evening, BX.
You too, make it make sense. Thank you for
Peace, sister.
joining.
Peace. Can
Peace.
I say something real fast?
Sure.
The sister touched on something. I started doing research here on my computer here, and just to find some articles to support what she said. She mentioned that it seems like they are purposely promoting those other melanated people over our people, and you know, of course, you know it as well as I know it. However, there are articles and there's been research and discussions that have taken place. There are articles that have been published that if you do a little research, you'll find a lot of resources that prove the way colleges, universities have been historically. I'm talking about since the 1990s has been documented, and people have researched and looked into the phenomena of importing black people, and instead of allowing black people from America to attend certain universities. So let me just read the title of this article. This is on aei.org. It's an op-ed. And the title is "Affirmative Action Helps Black Immigrants but Not Black Americans." I just want to point that out. Do you hear how crazy that is? Affirmative action helps black immigrants but not black Americans. And here's the thing: when they say that they get the same treatment as us. It's absolutely not true, because universities, and especially Ivy League universities such as Harvard or Yale, would prefer to bring in immigrants, black immigrants, to fulfill certain cultural and diversity quotas instead of what will be considered native black Americans, foundational black Americans, black American Negro descendants of freedmen. So they would purposely do this. So if I can, let me just go ahead and turn my camera on, and I won't keep you long. I know you're trying to get ready to go. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Make it make sense says this is by design, and then she says all 45 million of us are really lazy. Really?
Yeah, ain't that crazy? So it's this is the website. It is aei.org, and it's an op-ed, and here it is. And there, I think that's the author. Affirmative action helps black immigrants, but not black Americans. And the fact that people can do a little research and see the difference in the admissions and who they are actually allowing in some of these universities, it's pretty obvious that it's done on purpose. So that's one article. And let's see, let me just read a little bit. At my college, many departments offer modest awards for the best black students. The college rejected one department selected winner, however, because the student was Jamaican. Students of recent Caribbean or African immigrants do not qualify. Yeah, good for them. So this administrative decision points to a conundrum for colleges: how to respond to black immigrant students' superior performance on average. Now, that's some BS compared to those black students who trace their ancestry to antebellum period. The immigrant students' quote superior performance has resulted in their disproportional representation. Now, that's false. Now, this outcome was highlighted in 2004. Black Harvard law professor Lani Guinier. Now, that looks like a Haitian. Now, you talking about people who are saying these things, they are probably most likely of some sort of immigrant background. And of course, Henry Louis Gates Jr., the chairman of Harvard's African American Studies Department, these are people who do not have a vested interest in representing black Americans in the proper light. Now, let's see the response of selective colleges: twofold. First, affirmative action was no longer justified as compensation for slavery, institutional racism, but solely for its potential impact on diversity. Second, and somewhat paradoxically, the most selective schools stopped reporting on the ethnicity of their black student population. So they stopped reporting on the ethnicity on the black student population. I'll tell you why: because they were purposely bringing in students from outside of America, not because the students from outside of America will perform in a less than a great manner, less than successful manner. But honestly, this is a discrimination that took place. And there's an article, I forget, it might have been New York Times. The New York Times actually has an article, I believe. It might have been New York Post or New York Times, one of those. They had an article in the 1990s where they talked about how Nigerian students were being brought in to Harvard University. So this is a good read here. And also, this is HBCU Connect. In this article is HBCU Connect, and this article is black immigrants overrepresented at Ivy League schools. This is not an accident. So I saw something very interesting in this article. Let's see. Where is it? Give me 1 second. I'll see. So I'm trying to find it. Okay, so this is, let's see. Am I exempted from the cultural? Who is this? Affirmative action debate. No. That's not what I'm looking for. Immigrant blacks who come from families who have immigrated from West Indies or Africa, mostly Ghana or Nigeria, make up 41% of the black population of Ivy League schools, according to a 2007 study by Princeton University of Pennsylvania researchers. In contrast, black immigrants only make up 13% of the population of 18 to 19-year-olds in the United States. Now, you talk about 41% at Ivy League universities. That's not an accident. When the sister mentioned that it seems like they are promoting them over us, it's not an accident. It's done on purpose. It's not because our young scholars are not intelligent. It's not because they will perform less. There have been black faces in high places that are not our people. So that means that once these people get these positions of admissions, they are, these melanated immigrants, and they have power over admissions, they are more likely to do the Yvette Clarke thing, to focus on people from outside of the native black American population and to promote those people and to help those people with policies and things that will allow them to have a better shot at life and a better shot at success. The overrepresentation of immigrant blacks on Ivy League campuses is forcing students to redefine their own blackness and black culture while raising questions about affirmative action and access to the best universities in America. So when some of these people say that they don't know the difference between a black American and a black immigrant, it's absolutely false. It's absolutely a lie. They can tell the difference, and they discriminate purposely against Native Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, Black American Negro descendants of freedmen. This is not by accident that 41% of them are on Ivy, or 41% of the black people on Ivy League campuses are from another country. Now you're talking about people who may have, maybe first generation, maybe second generation. They don't have the cultural understanding of what happened here in America. These people are most likely less what you would consider revolutionary in their ideologies towards race and racial progress here in America. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing overrepresentation for a reason. And it's not an accident. I wish I could find that section where essentially there is like a president of the black student the black student union, so to speak, on one of these Ivy League campuses, and he realized that there were so many differences between himself and Native Black Americans, that the only thing they had in common were their skin tone. So this is another good read. This is on hbcuconnect.com. And this article is called Black immigrants overrepresented at Ivy League schools. And like I said, this is not an accident, y'all. These people are being overrepresented on purpose. And here is another op-ed. This is a HBSAA. This is a Harvard business student, Harvard Business School student website. And this is an op-ed. And someone said there are Black and Hispanic groups in America that far outperform some white and Asian groups. Immigrants from many West Indian and African countries such as Jamaica, Ghana, and Haiti are climbing America's higher education ladder. Now, when things like this are being published, this is going to push the narrative that, if you get an immigrant Black, you're going to get a high performer. You're going to get someone who's more intelligent. Now, these things are out there on the internet. These things are being published, and this is anti-Black American propaganda. Make no mistake about it. This is anti-Black American propaganda. And this is from Harvard Business School, and this is on their website. and they're talking about how,
Thank you for
you know,
that.
these West Indians and Africans and Jamaicans, oh man, they are really doing the damn thing.
But
This
why
is
when we talk to
propaganda.
them, a lot of their comprehension skills seem very low.
It's very low. That's how you know this is propaganda. These people don't even understand half the words that you say to them. You have a conversation with them, you could say A plus B equals C, and they come out of that conversation, you know, hearing, you know, C plus D equals a Z minus F. You're like, well, I don't get it because C plus D equals Z minus F, but I don't even understand what you're saying. You're stupid. No, you didn't comprehend what I just said. I just want to point this out. The propaganda is out there. We know that these people are being promoted over us, and we know why.
Thank you.
I'll go ahead and land there, but I just want to put that out there, y'all.
I was trying to get the sound effects. I wanted to give you a hand clap, but it didn't work right. Let me see if I can do it now. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Dred. Thank you for that presentation. Yes, and I want to thank you for spending the morning with me and spending the last day of a Black American History Month. But starting tomorrow, we go into another phase where we concentrate primarily on women, Black American women, but we are going to introduce powerhouse couples. It's all love, right? It's all love. We're going to still spotlight members of the community that made strides for the lineage, great accomplishment. But what I want to say is this. I think we've always fought together. Do we have our problems? Yes, we do. But like they say, behind every great man is a woman. I'm going to argue that behind every great woman is a man, no matter the capacity. I believe that women do have male mentors, male advisors and stuff like that. Platonic friends are very, 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 very what's the word I'm looking for? Needed. Yes. Platonic male friends are very much needed, you know?
Yeah.
I think so. They have been some of my biggest inspirations. Because Dred here is always giving me a career path I should take, such as professor. And I'm like, really?
Oh, yeah.
And we'll even drop the resources, the what you call it, advertisement for the professor position. And I'm like, really, Dred? But you know what? Then other people start confirming what Dred has said. Like Shadow Band, be like, BX, you are a historian. I was like, a historian? Me? Y'all are so inspirational to me, I tell you. And so if you're a woman and you don't have men in your corner, you know, encouraging you in different fields of your life, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Take it to prayer. Because I can't help you. Nah, let me go. Because I was feeling silly. I might need a nap. So I'm going to say thank you. You got any final words for the live?
No. I enjoyed myself. You know, I will catch you on the next live. I'll catch you in these TikTok streets. I need to get something to eat. I need to go work out. I got a lot to do.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank everybody for the gifts, the likes. My room is private, so it's a true echo chamber. You cannot share. For everybody who participated, I want to wish my people peace, love, light, and reparations to my foundational Black Americans and anybody of the lineage who could identify as such. I love us for real. Be one, family. Peace.
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 For you, BX the storyteller, bringing the spark. No one does it better. BX, you've heard the rest, but she's the best. Yeah, she's the best. Oh, from ancient tales to modern schemes, unraveling truths and chasing dreams.